right. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. If you were joining us on the light side stream, we are now live on the NLC stream. Very sorry for the delay here, but we are into the draft. It is Lunky's light side on the blue side, blue whites on the red side. I am Basik from light side, together here with Rusty Sniper from Unique.
Hello, hello. Rusty from Unique ADC, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we have already done the draft, so we look now that the players lock everything in really quick here. It's because well, stream was a bit delayed, so the players will just lock everything in as it was picked, I suppose. It looks like it's the same pick order. But yeah, we'll get into the game really soon. Hopefully, no more delays. Hopefully, there's no pauses in game, junglers disconnecting, cats running over the keyboards and stuff like that. Surely that won't happen. And we should be getting into this exciting game quite soon. Lightside playing 2 games today. First one against Blue Whites. Second one right after this up against ESP. And it will be me and Rusty taking you along this journey together. And yeah, Rusty, how are you feeling?
Dude, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah?
And yeah, I actually have a question for you because I used to play you last split. And I'm just wondering, like, has your how is your identity with this lineup? Like, where does your focus go in game? Like, do you play more for the top, mid, or bot side? Like, how does that look?
Yeah. So for last split, it was both a blessing and a curse, I would say, that Lightside had to play a lot around mid lane, which was somewhere that Lightside struggled in the beginning of the split and learned to play around more towards the end. Obviously, not getting quite all the way there, winning the finals, but we can talk about that later. But yeah, I would say a lot more versatile now. You can play around top, mid, and bot lane. I mean, you can even play around jungle if you want to. Probably not going to do so in this game where it's Maokai, of course, but yeah, definitely a very versatile team where anyone can be the one doing the carrying, really.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite interested by the Talia pick. It makes me wonder if they will play more for the side lane with the ult and try to overload on that side. But yeah, otherwise, I'm interested to see what they're able to pull off with that pick.
Yeah, it's an exciting one, and I feel like it's pretty good into Tristan as well. It's really good into, well, so many champions on Blue Whites. It just makes it difficult for Gragas, Sejuani, Tristana, and Rel to engage through that minefield.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like one of those, like, if you get CC'd, you die. But even with that being said, I do prefer the red side draft, and I feel like it's quite hard to get prio on the mid side in this mid matchup against Tristana, and it's also a double ADC. And after all, Saya will have the cleanse. Escher will have the cleanse and the dash, the E. So I feel like it will be quite difficult to lock him down. And I'm just looking at these matchups from top to bot, and I feel like there's no isolation that light side can fully take advantage of. Let it be the 1v1 top mid or the 2v2 bot. So I'm quite interested to see how Emp plays a part in all of this, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on him to find something and to make something work.
Yeah, and we'll see if he will be able to do so. We are into the first game of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Lightside versus Blue Whites. Lightside currently sitting at 6-3 win-losses. Blue Whites at 5-8 right now. Both teams doing quite well, looking to solidify their spot in the top of the standings.
Yeah, and the thing with the NLC Div 1 was that it didn't really matter what the standings was. Every single team was a threat, and you could see that from our side coming into the last week, that we even got a game of natives, right? So I was wondering, is this NLC Div 2 like kind of similar in that sense, where every team are able to put a fight against even the top teams?
I would say so, yes. So we have one team right now, Venomcrest, who are undefeated. They are 12-0. They have yet to drop a single game, but it has been close multiple times. Whereas you're watching it like, yeah, they're not gonna win this game. There's been crazy stuff happening, but in the end they have pulled through. Yeah, Pomo going with the rocket jump forward, getting a nice trade on the Painful, who gets the Q though. Nice trade back there.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
sorry. Oh no, I just wanted to highlight the starting item from Painful. With the Lost Whisper, if I'm not butchering the name, with that change, does it make any difference on like when you get it? Like, is it after a third wave you can just cheat a recall, or how does that look? Like, is there some special thing that Painful should be looking for in this mid matchup with this purchase?
Yeah, he's going super early Lost Chapter here. Maybe he's running Futures Market, which would allow for an even earlier one. But yeah, they did reduce the cost for it. He is running Futures Markets. We'll be able to base quite early, get that one, and just perma wave clear here up against the Tristana. And I feel like the Talia is actually quite good into something like the Tristana that wants to shove in the wave and just hit tower plates. Talia can just perma wave clear.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. So that makes me, I guess that's a neutralizer, you would call. But I still feel like the Tristana should be able to make things happen on the other sides of the map. For it being like maybe early dragon takes, maybe invades, or just to help out bot lane in general. But yeah, you can see a bot trade going out there.
Yeah, and how do you feel about these bot lane matchups? Obviously, it's Syra Khan into the Ezreal Rel. Which one would you prefer to be playing in this game?
I mean, I would be comfortable playing both. In this game, in the like. Oh, okay, there's a Rel going in here, gets a CC, lock on Saya, will Saya die here? Ezreal has flash?
Yeah.
Oh, goes for the E forward, flashes basically, oh my god.
That's first blood for Mercu.
Oh my god, maybe you should take the... I jumped in there. It was like a reflex.
No worries, man.
But this is huge.
Yeah.
This is huge for Ezreal. Holy.
Yeah, and a really aggressive play there from Mercu early on. Sometimes when you see Ezreal, you see them just wait until they have tier, they have shield, they get the mana immune, then they start doing things. But here we can see the early aggression coming out immediately from Blue White's bot lane.
Yeah. And you can also see on his reset, he didn't go for tier. He's going to play lane aggressively. He went for the extra longsword and machine.
So like Essence River, right?
Yeah, or, I mean, either way, you want to go mana immune, but I feel like he's trying to push the lead he was able to gather. So that will be interesting to see how well he does that.
Yeah, no sums on Saya now either. Definitely somewhere that the Blue Whites can look for even more.
Yeah, so one thing Rel could actually do here, she could actually walk up to the incoming wave, tank it for a while, and just let it slow push towards them, and then create a freeze, and they could look for a Sejuani or Sejuani gank bot lane, since you already know that Sai doesn't have sums, and Rel and Sejuani both have flash up. So that's a play that Blue Whites could have set up there, but instead I think they will focus on the dragon.
Yeah, first dragon is about spawn, and Blue Whites definitely have their eyes on the Ocean Drake here.
Yeah, so this makes me think that they will look to play off Soul this game. Which is fair. It's the safer option, and it's also like a really good win condition. So yeah.
Yeah, early Drake stacking is something that Lightside has been struggling with. In their last game, they actually did get an early Drake, but I would say, historically speaking, at least this split, Lightside has been struggling to get those early dragons.
Yeah. You can also see that the lane is pushing towards the Ezreal blue-white bot lane. I'm quite interested to see what Sejuani does. Does she go bot after Wolves? She might. And they could look for a fast play, because they also have the Tristana move off bot.
Yeah, however, Lightside should know, because they have really good vision in blue-white's top side there. They have both a ward around the Raptors and a deep control ward as well.
Yeah, so in these cases, it's kind of up to blue-white's bot lane to utilize this pressure. Like, are they gonna pretend a gank is coming, or are they gonna play a bit more laid back and bait the play? Or
oh, I think they saw Sejuani there.
Yeah,
they spotted her.
Yeah, so Ezreal preemptively. Oh no, I mean the lane is like dead even now, almost.
Yeah, it's smooth.
So I would say this is not the outcome that. Oh. Okay, there's just trades going on.
Yeah.
All the time. There's no place to talk. But yeah, I was gonna say that Blue-White's bot lane, MRK, is that just how you pronounce his name?
I think it's a Murku.
Murku, okay.
Yeah.
This is not the situation he had in mind while buying these items. We can also see that it's already taking a toll on his mana pool. And it's gonna continue to do so, since Nichit is just... He can keep Ezreal in lane for how long he wants, because of the wave clip that he has over Ezreal.
Yeah, and Lightside have really been able to just neutralize the bot lane. Saya about to have her flash up again, and Blue Eyes didn't do anything to punish this flashless ED carry from Lightside.
Yeah. We can see here, Sejuani hit 6.
Will probably have to flash.
Oh.
He's gonna be in trouble. Nice W though, but
playing it slow. Oh, almost Lightside. They're going in.
He flashes out though. Emp is here for the re-engage, and they will root down at Tristana.
Ezreal.
Murku is dead from the bot lane light side. Now, Painful taking so much damage, but he goes over the wall and he's gonna survive here. Emp finds another Q on towards Pomo that tries to run out. Boltox finds himself in a 1v2, gets taken out, Quest advance forward from Emp, and Nichit gets another kill. It's 3-0 for light side. And it's
That's huge.
What just happened?
I did not expect that. Especially when it was Blue-Whites making the play.
Yeah. Blue-White's bot lane must have really gotten pinched there, because Murku tried to join up and he was just dead before he could even do anything.
Yeah, and you could also see that it looked like it was Ezreal moving first. Trying to get there as soon as possible, but him just being punished, CC locked and end up dying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing that was moving first was Murku's health bar, because once he got there, it just wasn't with him anymore.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can say that great job to Painful baiting that play, no?
Yeah, I mean, it looked very scary in my eyes, but it turned out wonderfully. Lightside now starting up the Rift Herald as well here.
Yeah, you can see Sai also respecting bot lane, not wanting to throw the lead they've been able to get. Yeah, he might end up for the cannon though, or is he gonna give that as well? Yeah, he ends up giving it, playing it safe.
Yeah, but Chaos now joining up with his AD carry. Oh, Jones looking for a play here. Mid lane knows that Painful has used flash, and the Sejuani ultimate will come up in a few seconds.
Yeah. Tristana using Q though takes away a bit of a kill.
Yeah.
The kill pressure.
And Painful knows.
He can smell something.
Could be lurking in. Will spot her on Vision here as well. Rel has joined up here, tries to go for a play around mid lane, but Maokai of course can just come mid after Gromp. But it seems like Painful is going to be fine there.
Yeah. And while isolated in this top matchup, you can see that Renekton has been able to get a, you know, a kill worth of a CS diff.
Yeah.
Or CS lead. A bit more, I would say.
Oh wait, Tristana's super low. Doesn't have flash yet. She has rocket.
Does he have W? No, doesn't have W.
Doesn't. And he will fall here. Painful gets his second kill of the game. Which goes for the ultimate forward here. Can he find the stun? Will get it on towards the Gragas that has cask available. Will not use it for now. Is just gonna be able to run out there.
Yeah, and it felt like with that bot play that happened, everything kind of looks like it's been fall apart. Everything is falling apart. First it was the Herald, they got on top of it, and now they're getting mid play.
Oh, wait, that's another kill. What? Painful?
Painful!
What?
He just whoops out a Tali and he does this.
Yes. Ah.
And not only that, look at the Dark Seal stacks. 7.
Yeah, how much gold is Talia sitting on right now? Just a bit. Oh my, 2k.
Yeah.
That's gonna be one juicy base.
And a 500 gold lead on top lane in the isolated matchup.
Seems like Mike has tried to go for something cheeky there. Has used the cask. Both the top laners surviving. Both of them are still holding onto the flash as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Butchie may be looking for something here.
Yeah, he's fishing.
We'll just look for the wave for now. Will, he's so low.
Oh, he's a bit greedy.
So scary.
Wait, can Gragas kill this? He has flash up. Both have flash up. Might need to outplay it. It does it. Okay, Butchie.
Oh my god! Gragas dies to minions.
Oh no!
W! Heal. No one's gonna die. Oh my god, the top lane is really skill checking there.
Yeah, they're playing it on the edge.
Yeah. I feel like it was a bit unnecessary for both of them. Both of them had to use flash. Painful are going to be
Well, going in.
doesn't flash right now. The rocket jump forward from Tristana as well. This is
Good
going to
sidestep.
be a dead Talia. Really nice shutdown for Pomo.
Yeah, good roam coming up there from Boltox as well.
Painful had yet to reset there. He was sitting on over 2,000 gold.
Yeah,
Definitely overstayed his welcome.
I think he got a bit ahead of himself. I mean, he lost 5 Dark Seal stacks as well. I mean, can't blame him. He's been playing really well apart from that play there.
Yeah.
Oh, Grind's going for the ult.
Nice Gragas cast. No flash now for Butchie. Body slam could come down. Seems to be in cooldown though. Bit of a trade back there from Butchie. Minecraft wants to look for more, but he cannot find the slow with the barrel roll. Now they play
what is happening bot lane?
TP with the Weaver's wall as well. They try to find the kills. Oh, so much damage on towards the rel as will fall.
I ult.
Orchestrates forward. Gets one kill. What? Oh. This is the double kill for Painful, but it's so close from Murku, who tries to go for the hero play. Finds at least one. Lightside still coming out on top.
It was a close one though.
Yeah, really, really close. It could have been 3 kills for the Ezreal there. Who? I don't know who got the camp there.
I didn't see either.
Someone won the smite fight and maybe getting a bit of a mental advantage for the next objective there.
Yeah, so in this point, like, I want to see a play happen with Sejuani because he's yet to get a kill participation, and I feel like he should, whenever that ult is up, he should look to make something happen, especially when he has flash up. And especially in a chaotic game like this, where the sums are just always down.
Lightside once again going for him. There we see Sejuani winning the smite fight.
Are they gonna look?
Potentially
They're looking.
Use the Sejuani ultimate, but its wish is an X-Mid, the ultimate coming down from Jones. Maybe they will still look for an engage.
Oh, they're re-engage.
Runs forward onto the rel though. Lightside dealing so much damage, finding the burst to take down the support, and now Sejuani is on the wrong side of the map, flashing out, getting the Q as well. But there should be another twisted advance for MP. Could go for the flash W here. Will do so indeed. Bramble smash, and it should be another killer for Lightside as the grand entrance from Dr. Chaos secures the kill. Butch getting it in the end.
But look at bot lane here. He might go for the dive here.
No ultimate for Nitchit right now.
Does he know though? I don't think he knows.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
Oh, that's
He
so
whiffed
close.
the Q, but it was a really good try.
Yeah, really respectful there. Respect the play there coming out from Murku. Try to. He's crazy on the Ezreal. It feels like once he gets to 2, 3, 4 items, Ezreal is gonna be absolutely insane to deal with.
No? Right cast?
Another cast? No. But she able to dice away from that one. Still takes a lot of damage from the Gragas though. One thing I'm so happy to see with the Renekton now, as the Riot. Oh wait, but she. Okay, he has his ultimate. Gragas does not. Maybe Renekton can turn this one around actually. We use the Dominus and Gragas will just be forced to body slam out there. What I was trying to say is I'm so happy that Riot removed the dash from Prowler's Claw, so Renekton doesn't build it anymore. Now it has to be the Goer Drinker build. And I just absolutely despise the lethality Renekton one-shot build. Any takes on Renekton's Prowler's clawing onto you as an AD carry and one-shotting you? Oh, painful. Might get one-shot by Pomo here. Flashes forward into the jungle of Blue.
Good W!
Nice buffer. Oh, really
Beautiful
well
W, and it's a really good trade as well from Blue Whites. Trading the bot tower for the Herald. And they're gonna get the mid tower as well from it.
Yeah, another shutdown.
Yeah.
Painful.
And also the Drake.
Yeah, wait, it's Cloud Soul, it's Chemtech Soul.
It's not the soul you want.
Up in 10 seconds, could go for it, but it looks like Lightside will just go for the top lane out of the tower, give this dragon. It's only the second Drake here for Blue Whites.
Yeah, so what I think Gragas has to take the mid. No, Gragas is gonna die here, 100%. Oh, or not.
So here.
I guess Lightside will they will take this opportunity to get a reset timer instead of trying to get the top tower. Still fine though. They might have been close on their spikes.
Painful. He's gonna be in trouble again. He's gonna die here. He finds so much damage, but he's just going to fall once again here. Painful having a bit of a rough time here recently.
Yeah.
Dying 2 times in quick succession.
Oh. But this is also blue-whites making 3 plays without having a pause. So I feel like they shouldn't be able to get more than this, but they do get the bot lane still.
Yeah. Yeah, they've gotten a lot here. Gold lead has shrunk down to 3,500 in the favor of light side right now.
Yeah, and not only that, it's gonna be hard now. I think blue-white can stabilize the game and just try to scale from this point on.
Yeah. And I think what was interesting there when we saw the individual gold is that the biggest individual gold lead is actually in the jungle. It's on the tank, the Maokai versus Sejuani. Other than that, it was gold leads for the Renekton, Talia for light side, but not that big gold leads.
We're also gonna see. So, at this point, light side should be able to kind of push their vision, and they're deciding to do it so bot side. And they can always join. Oh, they're looking on Gragas.
Looking onto him indeed. So much damage. Grass. Cast has been used. Flash out as well, and that's one quick Gragas with face rush.
Yeah. And Renekton can go push mid here while the rest overloads on bot.
Yeah.
I don't think they will get the tower, but maybe they do actually.
Yeah, 4 members strong here from light side. Sejuani is here with the ultimate up in a few seconds. Tower goes super low. Light side will try to find it. They will find it indeed. Can blue eyes now look for a re-engage here? No.
No, it looks like they get away with it as well. I don't think they will get anything. Instead of trying to overload on the top, as a response to that, they tried to stop them from getting the tower bot lane, which they wasn't able to do, and now they won't even get the top tower.
Yeah, Butchie is here, and he hasn't gone for the Gore Drinker in this one. It's Stride Breaker Renekton, so there is quite some damage coming down.
Yeah. And we can also see here that since Ezreal decided to be a bit greedy with his first reset, he's late on the tier stack.
Yeah.
So his second power spike hasn't fully came in yet.
Dr. Chaos going to take so much damage from the zone. Still goes forward with the Granders, and he's going to survive here. Boltox will be joining up, and the Gragas has TP'd as well. Chaos will be going down. Butch is going to be in so much trouble. It's going 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4 even. As the Gragas is down, another kill there for the Tristana, and Lightside don't really have an answer. Nikis will push the midway, but there's no way he can hit the tower even a single time here. Really nice play by Blue Whites 30 seconds before Baron spawns. I don't think they will be able to start Baron on spawn here.
Yeah, if that was 30 seconds later, that could have been disastrous.
Wow.
Still fine. Sai got his second item. Maokai should prevent Tristan from getting top, yeah. Could have been worse, honestly.
Yeah, it sure could have. Still, Blue Whites finding 2 really nice kills there for themselves. And,
yeah.
And when you were talking about the Ezreal be having a bit of a late Muramana here, is that when this build truly comes online for Mercu?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he might get... not 100%, but it's a big spikes when he gets it completed. Because not only does he get the on-hit thingy, he also gets raw AD from it. And it might be up to 40, I'm not completely sure about that.
Oh, painful.
Oh, painful.
Sejuani. What? Tristana has reset there. Just leave Sejuani all for herself. Jones gonna be in so much trouble. Empis here gets a twisted advance, and Painful should be the one getting this kill here. And that could actually be the Baron here startup for Lightside. 5 members strong. Gragas bot lane fighting Butch right now. They're so low bottom. There's all in, no? Gragas is super low.
And Grice doesn't have TP, while Renekton has. This looks really bad for white blues, or blue whites. I
think Butchie can just TP up here. It's gonna be a 5v3 if it does so. He will indeed go for the Weaver's Wall, comes down from Painful. Baron down to 5k. I don't think Blue Eyes can do anything except look for the Crocodile here. Butchie maybe on the wrong side of the map here. Gets a blast combo. And actually, they find the Rel. So much damage. And the route on towards Gragas as well. Not, Painful not quite in range for the Q, but he will flash.
Goes for the flash.
Find the kill there. Lightside can look to pressure the mid lane inner tower here, but the Dragon spawns. Maybe they want to look for that. Actually, how do you feel about going Drake when you have Baron?
I mean, at this point, I wouldn't put much Oh, okay. They're not even going for the Drake.
No.
So I feel like they hesitated a bit. I think they could have gotten the top and the mid as well. But they decided to... I mean, they walked towards the Drake and then they realized that they should, you know, take it on the way back instead.
Yeah. Yeah, taking Dragon with Baron is a topic you can discuss a bit. Oftentimes it's not the best to go for. They did find the inner tower there, but I feel like going for Drake when you have Baron, you just lose so much tempo with it.
Yeah, for sure, especially when it's your second Drake.
Yeah.
So it's not...
And it's finding an invade here. Butcher will go forward with the dominance. Johnny has been used here. TP coming down from Pommet just to help his teammate out here, just to bail them out really.
Yeah. So like a lot of what you see a lot in competitive games as well as NLC Div 1 is that when things start to go bad, when you do small mistakes, you end up keep going and you at some point overforce and you just lose the game. But not for Lightside. They managed to bounce back even after making a few small mistakes. It's quite impressive to see. I think it was on the back of Painful, honestly.
And if you were Blue Whites here, would you make a stand on the inner tower top lane here?
I have to see the items. I wouldn't be able to tell you yet, but I feel like the top tower will go down. The question is how many resources or ults are you able to get out of it? Are you able to bait the Maokai ult for it? Or are you gonna give it without any real, what do you call it?
Investment.
Yeah, exactly. But it looks that they're slowly shipping out on the tower. Oh, look, Tristana.
Oh, Nick's really low here.
It's your ult as well.
Down.
Almost.
Maokai ult gets forced, but Painful is split pushing mid lane right now, hitting onto the inhib tower.
Yeah. They won't get
engaging with Sejani, the Butch. She has no flat. Tries to dash over the wall, but he will not be able to do so. It's a really nice pick by Blue Whites, who run quite low, but Lightside will not look for the re-engage. They actually got the inhib tower. Pomo has rocket jump, could go for Nikit, who has everything up actually. And, Blue Whites decide to make a stand.
This is a bit risky.
Ooh.
Okay. And they just keep wasting time.
Yeah, I think Lightside didn't get anything with Baron really. And now they engage with the Well, use ultimate as well. Magnetic Storm, Grand Enter from Dr. Kia, so much damage on towards the Well, we get forced to flash out. Sejani is here, will go for the re-engage. Pomo is super low. Nikit still staying alive in this one. Mercury is now joining up the fight. Should be enough to take down Lightside. They will try get another kill. It's gonna be 2 for 2 here. And I have to say, that's quite good for Lightside, considering it ended up being a 2 versus 4 there in the end.
Up to bot lane.
The Gragas cast up right now. Okay. My Cash has flash, but he will not go for the dash aggressively.
Yeah, I mean at this so late into the game, you don't really care too much about giving the enemies too much gold. So, for example, I don't think Tristana should have flashed. She should have tried to trade it 1-for-1 with the Saya, and then just automatically getting Rakan. And by doing so, Tristana would still have her sums up, and the sum difference would have been too big for Lightside wanting to have a fight, and it could also, make it easier for Blue Whites to play next fight. Because I feel like right now both the carries don't have flash, instead of just Lightside's having none.
Yeah, someone who has flash though is Murko on the Ezreal. Now 3 items strong. Cyrilla's Grudge has been picked up. This Ezreal will start to dish out so much damage in these fights if he can just keep being in range to land these mystic shots over and over.
Yeah. Is this normal for Gragas? Does the passive stack on those items? Or is that a mismatch?
It stacks, but I don't think it's intended.
No. It's not an unique.
He's building 2 items at the same time as both the Cosmic Drive and Sonya's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It does give you ability haste.
Oh.
The Lightside will finally engage on towards the Sejani. That's super tanky. Will flash out, dash out, and survive here. Only
Gragas
the
though.
Maokai ultimate was used there. Not that long of a cooldown. But Sejuani gets out scot-free, really. Oh, maybe re-engage here over the wall. They have the Sejuani ultimate. Oh, Cask was used flash out from Painful. Sejuani will look for an engage here. Painful a bit off to the side. Can't really do anything. Oh, that somehow lands on towards Nikki, who's going to be in trouble. He has the Featherstone available, and he turns it around. 2 versus 4. Lightside. Nikki just keeps hitting. It's a 2v4, and he just steps forward. Is this Rusty Sniper Sire? What is going absolutely insane? The Weaver's wall here from Painful.
Good
going deep. Stopwatch is going to keep him alive here. Mercury tries to be the hero, but he will go down here. It's the ace for Lightside, 27 minutes into the game. They have a mini wave crashing down, and I think this is going to be enough for Lightside to end the game.
And just like that, 5-0. A perfect fight. Not really, but on paper, they just get away with the game like that. No soul threat, but just a normal dragon was able to bring that. Yeah, I'm speechless, honestly.
I don't know if Lightside they take it away. Wow. They win the game against Blue Whites after a huge team fight. Wow. What happened there, Rusty?
Dude, I'm not completely sure. It looked like they were fighting on 2 different fronts. It ended up, like, it started well with Sejuani landing on a really nice ult on Saya. I feel like they got too ahead of themselves, tried to overforce while Saya still had the ult up, and Rakan was still able to peel the main engage off of her. So I feel like they got too ahead of themselves after getting that ult off. But regardless, Lightside didn't have any flashes, and they were still able to get such a good fight off.
Yeah, I'm still baffled how that happened. The Dr. Chaos and Nichit were able to win a 2v4, just turning it around. That was crazy. Wow. All right. Well, Lightside take the win against Blue Whites. They will be back again in just a few minutes up against Espegade. We will be taking a short break, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be back in not too long. Wow.
Dude,
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We now have a whole entirely different game upon us, but still, Lightside are playing. This time around, it's going to be up against ESP here. Lightside just won the game against Blue Whites, now have moved to 7-3 in the standings. ESP having a bit of a rough time, currently sitting at 2-6, trying to find their footing. Recently, they've been losing a bit too many games for their own liking, probably, and they will look to, climb themselves back up, of course. And, will need some good performances as they now have 2 games back to back here in NLC Division 2.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I mean, you can kind of expect some maybe pocket picks coming through from ESP, like desperate picks. Maybe we see like a Draven or something spicy. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, and I think didn't we see? Was it? Oh no, it was actually. I thought it was Master Yi. Wait, we did see Master Yi in Div 1, but that
Oh,
was a long
yeah,
time ago. It was Roddy,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Roddy pulled off the Master Yi in their second game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got stumped. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It
dude, I
happens.
love Roddy, man.
Yeah, I remember actually. I had the Master Yi at the top of my mind because it was picked in NLC Div 3 against Darkside when they
Oh.
last week or earlier this week actually, and they did not win against Master Yi, unfortunately.
Okay, it worked in Div 3. Maybe it works in Div 2.
Yeah,
Sadly, didn't work in Div 1.
yeah. So maybe, yeah. I mean, we'll see. Div 2 has to be the decider if the champion is good enough for this
Yeah.
level.
True.
Ruffy,
Yeah.
I do wanna talk to you a bit about your split that you have had in Division 1. This was your first split in Div 1. Unfortunately, didn't go too well for your team, and I mean, you will now be playing against one of the teams in NLC Division 2. How much have you looked at Div 2? Are there any teams that you've seen any games from? Does any team look scary? Is there someone you would hope to be playing against in a potential promotion relegation tournament?
By the looks of things, I haven't really seen full games. I've seen some of Painful's game. Because he's just coming into Discord like, oh my god, Rusty, look at this Zed play, look at this pentakill. I'm like, yeah, that's really good. But in reality, I'm like, oh, it's like whatever,
Yeah.
But yeah. But Venocrest looks good, right? But I don't know how good they are. So that's a team that I might need to look out for. Otherwise, I don't think any other team is a threat as of now. Maybe Lightside. They dropped, as you mentioned, like 2 games because they weren't the complete roster yet. So they might look completely different different a week from now on, or in like playoffs, or you never know.
Yeah. And I do want to say on a personal note, the way I've observed things is that I would say the relative level of Division 2 from spring to summer has actually gone down a bit, which would be good for a team that's from Div 1 that would be in relegations, of course. So maybe there's hope. How do you feel your hopes are for sticking around Div 1?
Personally, I think I did really good on paper, and also, well, theoretically. I feel like I had maybe 4 bad games. Otherwise, my first 4 games were kind of insane, I think. If I'm not wrong, I was up 1k gold in 15 minutes. What do you call it? Average. And then my last 4
Okay.
games were, I went away from for 2 weeks, got back, and then I had a rough 2 games, and then before that we kind of got stomped by Verdant and another team. I don't remember. But then again, my last 4 games were really good. It was after we made the changes and we had like maybe our honeymoon phase, or maybe we just got better. You never know. It's hard to tell. But yeah, I feel like I did well. And if you look at the stats, I did well. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
But what matters is what other people think, right? So we'll see. Next split.
Yeah. All right, we should be getting into the champion select quite soon. If you haven't caught up, it's light side up against Espergare Esport. And we're excited to get into that one. It's going to be a complete banger, of course. Light side playing back-to-back games. And as I said previously, maybe you missed it, ESP are now playing back-to-back games here. So that's we have an interesting evening ahead of us. This is the second out of 4 games tonight, so make sure to have the stream on for a long time because there will be bangers for a long while.
Yeah. What I'm interested in seeing is like some target bans. I want to see those come through. Because they were very common in NLC Div 1. For instance, we had... Oh, okay, we're going into draft.
Yeah.
But I was going to mention, we had My Draven, we had Liam Cole, Aphelios, we had...
your Saya, your Ezreal, your Sivir.
Yeah, exactly. Don't forget about the Sivir. But yeah, oh, we see Zed. Yeah, a target ban came through. That's quite interesting. And the Zed as well. That's not a ban you see often.
Yeah. And the light side with the Gragas ban here, of course, a champion.
Griggs.
Yeah, Gragas, of course, a champion that we saw a lot last split. It was B1 a lot, and I still see it in the summer. B1 Gragas flex pick, really common.
Yeah, I mean, what this tells me about light side is that they really value the Maokai pick. They B1 it or they ban it. That's what I get. Unless there's some Maokai main or OTP in this game, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure either if there's a Maokai OTP. Oh, wait, Kai'Sa ban. Oh,
yeah,
right, because we're not on live patch, right?
Yeah, that's interesting because usually this is a B1 you take.
Ooh.
And the Saya ban as well. I hope there's some Spice ADC picks coming through. Oh, there comes. Yeah, there goes the Rel. And what do you answer here? Do you go like there's a I've seen Rumble, bro. Rumble is so strong, especially in solo queue. That champion always pops off.
Wow.
But I feel like light side is more of the support jungle bind pick. I might be wrong. It's kind of the feeling I get.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I feel like Emp's jungle pool is limited, but then I see him lock Ivern. I'm like, what? I've never seen him play Ivern his entire life. And yeah, I just don't know. Emp likes to play Lily. Oh, you were talking about K'Sante earlier.
Yeah. The Butchie K'Sante, the solo killing machine. Let's see it. And this is after the nerfs, right? So let's see if he's still able to pull off those solo kills.
Worth to note is that K'Sante is a flex pick, so maybe it could be mid lane if they're feeling it. Doesn't have to go top lane.
Yeah, the thing with Painful is that he says he can play every champion, but you truly never know what he can play.
Yeah.
Like, I do it queue with him, and he just pulls out the Fizz, right? And then it's like, wait, you play this champion? And then, oh, Renekton hover? Is this... Wait, how does LeBlanc work after a static shift?
You can still play it.
Still play it, yeah. Okay, it's interesting.
I think so, at least. I think you have to go what you call minion dematerializer, and then static still one-shots minions, which is so dumb. I think on live they fixed it eventually, but yeah, it still works.
I see. Now the question is, are they gonna break the flex?
Oh, what?
What? Hello? Hello?
No way. Oh,
what is this, bro? You can't do this to me, man. And he goes Victor, the most boring champion in the game. Wow. Interesting though, no ADCs picked. And you usually see a lot of ADCs in the first rotation, so it makes me wonder, are we gonna see ADC bans here, or are they gonna just leave everything open?
I think we'll see a lot of ADC bans. Already Kai'Sa and Saya have been taken away, but I expect to see something like the Ezreal Witch ban coming down there. And actually, I don't know if you are aware, but ESP's AD carry Whispers used to be a top laner. He came back to NLC 2 and is now an AD carry.
I see. Whispers, yeah, me and him are best friends, bro. We met in solo queue, and we've been best friends ever since then.
Yeah.
And Ash ban coming through. I want to see a Varus ban from Esp, because light side on Varus seems a bit dangerous. Especially with the hybrid build, they can go some type of carry jungle with it. And he can just go static shiv into AP. Oh, they ban it themselves.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting, because I really like the Varus against LeBlanc, Rel, and Renekton. Because your ult threat can do a lot against those champions.
I'm just thinking right now, speaking a bit more about especially having his first split as AD carry, I would expect that your champion pool would be quite limited then, and they're leaving it and banning so many AD carries here, even the Tristana getting taken away. Oh, and Lights get Aphelios.
Yeah, you should be able to see this like miles ahead. The question is, do they have something prepared? And I think they will just take the most boring matchup there is.
Maybe you could take Lulu or something after. Or Thresh.
Maybe.
What would you like to see? Jungle or support here? For ESP?
I wanna see some scaling support here, but it's fine.
It's the Jarvan.
We see the
early
Jarvan
game jungle instead.
Yeah.
For Lightside, it should be a. Oh, it could be. Could this be a Lilia angle for Emp? Probably not.
Lilia angle? I'm not sure about the jungle matchup, but I feel like Jarvan should be able to do quite well.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe Perma invading or Ivern.
Yeah, it's just gonna be another tree. Oh!
They're just listening to the stream. Is this allowed?
I was actually thinking about the Viego because I felt it was quite nice with the Lightside's comp. They of course have some lockdown with the Victor and a lot of burst there as well, and of course the hard engage with the Rakan. I like the Viego.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me feel though, like makes me think though, if they were thinking of this AD jungle, they could have just might as well just went Varus. I feel like it's better blind, it's better for the game, but maybe as another idea on Aphelios, or maybe it's more comfortable on Aphelios. We'll see.
Yeah. And one thing I feel like for ESP here is, I mean, they have the Renekton and Jarvan, pretty early game champions here. Of course, Jinx very late game, but it feels like if the top side can't do, I mean, something in the early game, it feels like they're gonna be, well, not that useful in the later stages of the game. And it feels like if Lightside can just hold on for the first 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, they should be at an advantage here. Am I wrong?
Are you talking about Lightside here?
Yeah, I feel like Lightside's draft is better in the late game.
Yeah, I feel 100%. Especially with the way they're playing, I feel like they're just more. I feel like they're just better at team fighting than other Div 2 teams. So I feel like even if the what's it called, the drafts are like even, I would still favor Lightside 100%.
Yeah. Wow.
Because
it's gonna be
from what I saw from last game, I just feel like they aren't, or team Blue Whites didn't utilize correctly, like on different prios, and I feel like especially having LeBlanc, I want to see how they utilize the prio that LeBlanc will be able to gather.
Of course, as they do have the Jarvan, they can go for some early ganks around this Jinx. Lightside know from experience that Jinx is a champion that can be very scary if it gets ahead early on. I don't know if you remember a particular series from Spring Split, maybe the finals actually.
Oh yeah, I think I remember.
Yeah, there were 2 Jinx games there, and
Jinx, and then it got banned.
Yeah,
I remember it actually. Over in game.
Yeah, we can hear it at least. We should getting it onto the screen, but there is a pause currently. We didn't have it for game 1, so of course there has to be one for game number 2 here.
Well, it's gonna be double as long as they usually are.
If there's not go ahead.
This draft was interesting. 6 ADC bans, and it was still such a normal ADC matchup.
Yeah, we still end up with the Aphelios Jinx. That's crazy. But I feel like that used to be really meta a few patches ago. It's not really meta anymore.
Yeah. You're right.
Was it before ADC item changes, maybe? I think it was. Or was it after?
It was a bit after, I think.
Oh, okay.
It was like the Stormrazor era, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or was that? No, that was only Aphelios popping off. No?
Wait,
no, it wasn't.
Jinx as well.
I don't remember it. Yeah. ADC brain, man. We don't remember much.
Yeah, easiest role. You just have to right click.
Just right click and mute teammates. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, is there some player here that you're looking for, like looking to step up for ESP? Like who's their hope?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Lightside, coming into the game, you expect them to win. So who's gonna step up? on Esp? Is it gonna be the LeBlanc? Jinx, maybe?
I feel like it's gonna have to be the Jarvan finding place for his teammates. Of course, Jarvan is a champion that's really can find these angles early on, can go for this crazy jungle path, take one camp and on top side and then gank bot lane 20 seconds later. Just trying to find those crazy angles has to be what ESP will be looking for in this one, as they do have a really early game top jungle here.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, and
Yeah,
we have another pause.
I'll guess we just check out the runes then, in the meanwhile. I mean, nothing special, I guess.
It is fleet footwork for LeBlancs, and it's going to be static Civ.
Yeah.
Longsword as well.
Oh, okay, they're resuming. That's perfect.
Yeah. I think it was just the cat stepping on the keyboard here.
Yeah.
Happens sometimes.
Oh. Okay.
But other than that, yeah, it's just standard. Both AD carries running Flash Ghost in this one. And it is... Ghost has not been changed yet. Still, if you get kills, you get 7 additional seconds or whatever it is. Of course, on live, it's changed from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. And if you get takedowns, you don't get any extra ones. How do you feel about that? Will you still be taking Ghost on AD carries after that?
I'm not gonna be like I'm not sure. I haven't played the game in a while, actively.
Yeah.
But I feel like it will 100% make a difference. You might prefer heal, or some other type of. You know, I want teleport to come back on ADC. I want that to come back.
Yeah, that ward is so cheeky from Nichit to try to spot out the Jarvan if he pats down early.
Yeah, I think they came into the game thinking that they have to cheese to win. That's a crazy statement. Oh, look at the...
Wait, so much damage.
Oh, they can fight this. Don't be scared. 2v2 them.
Yeah,
they're already so ahead in HP.
Not Lethal Tempo. Is it always Conqueror? Or I feel like Lethal Tempo is also something you can go on.
Yeah, you can go both. You can even go press the attack if you want.
Oh.
But what I'm surprised to see is double Doran's Blade coming from both the...
Yeah, W4.
Oh, they will punish this, right?
No, Lights are looking for level 2 here, but it looks like ESP bot lane will be the ones finding it first here. Getting the Q onto Dr. Kios, the root as well. Ignite comes down. Flash out from Dr. Kios. He will be able to stay alive here, but a nice aggressive play there from ESP.
Yeah, I feel like they're quite vulnerable, Lightside, the past 2 games. In the first 10 minutes? But,
Rel getting some deep vision here, will be able to spot out Emp as he goes on towards the blue buff here.
The question here is that will they do anything? Will they look to steal it away? It doesn't look that way. Lane. And I don't know what happened. I think...
Maybe for the flash, will do so indeed.
Yeah.
Victor with no flash. That's
it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanna see this bot wave actually, because from the looks of things,
slow push.
I think Nidget hit a nice Q on Jinx, able to chunk her quite a bit. And the wave or the lane is just stabilized right now.
Yeah, it's a bit rough for ESP right now, but of course both junglers on the bot side, both of them could come down to try to help fix this, but it is for sure going to crash eventually. Really big wave for Lightside.
Yeah, really big one. I was gonna mention... Oh, never mind. I don't think...
I think Lightside will win the fight here. They will just find the crash here. Jarvan is looking towards mid. Actually, LeBlanc was forced to flash mid as Emp went for the gank there. Composite
we missed it. And look at the mid wave, it's freezing.
Yeah, that one is very rough. But Jarvan is here. Could try to help his mid laner out here. Emp got both Scut Crabs here. Will spot out the Jarvan as well, but the EQ comes down.
Do they win this?
Yeah, it'll be solo flare. First blood bot. Painful super low.
Painful is gonna die. No flash. Jarvan?
Flash. And auto. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Painful.
Wait, top lane out. Butchie 1v1.
Super low against Renekton. Oh, okay.
Okay. And just like that, everything's falling apart.
Yeah, the Jinx gets the early kill. I'm not sure
Wow.
what happened there. And also, what did Painful do? Maybe
I'm not
there was
sure.
a miscommunication there. I think Painful wanted to go aggressive on the LeBlanc, but Emp couldn't find the angle. Do you have the replay?
Yeah,
bot
let's
lane
see.
here? Does the
Oh.
recall get cancelled? Oh,
Oh, I see.
yeah, and he's just dead.
Just like that.
Wow. Yeah, that's so big. Oh, actually, Flash had to be used, but still, of course, really worth there to get the kill on the Jinx. First blood as well, extra gold.
Yeah. But even in this scenario, if you look at the CS differences, bot and mid, you can still see that
wow.
light side is like not in that bad of a position.
Yeah, bot lane, I would say, is really good. Although, of course, there are some minis here that the Whispers will pick up here.
Yeah. And then it doesn't look like they will do anything with this prio.
Forward, can't find the E though. Jarvan is just hex
Oh.
flashing here. Oh wait,
Okay.
that's Rel actually.
Is this another
Gets the crash
kill?
down as well. The ignite has gone down. So never mind that Painful takes so much damage, and he will go down.
And that's a bit of a disaster.
Painful has no TP either. If he can crash this, oh, I don't think they can. Dr. Chaos and Emp are here. Emp will be able to pick this up. LeBlanc is sticking around quite low actually. Hit 6 here. Ignite comes down. Liza want to look for it, but here is the Jarvan. Gets a 2-man EQ. Yeah, another kill. Emp can be going down here. Another Q should come down from the Jarvan. He will stay alive, but Lightside are playing a bit greedy here, and ESP are finding advantages across the map, really.
Yeah, and not only was mid greedy, Aphelios was greedy as well, because he had an opportunity to reset here before obviously this lane state to be able to shorten the item difference, but I think he was greeding for a plate or something, maybe one more wave, which ended up with him being forced to stay now. Oh, yeah, you can see the plate is 1 HP. So not only was the mid lane greedy, but also the ADC, and I feel like they will just continue to bleed because of this.
Yeah, I feel like Lysa just have to calm down, but they are not. Painful is going to be in trouble again. He has the Chaos Storm here, which I guess is not something to LeBlanc, but it takes so dodges the EQ actually, empty for the re-engage. Maybe Lysa can't turn it around. LeBlanc is super low, and actually the Jarvan is taking so much damage from Emp. Painful will get solo kill though by the LeBlanc. Emp will probably find the kill.
There's no way.
The EQ out.
Will Emp die here? No.
And Lightside can't find the kill.
I was gonna praise Painful for being able to, like, it looked like he had a really, like, good sense of his limits. He just walked into them 1v2, was able to put out so much damage while surviving, and he was able to wait Emp's arrival, and they managed to win the 2v2, even while being 0-2. But he greeted again. This guy.
He sidestepped the EQ from Jarvan super nicely. Had he just turned his attention towards killing the Jarvan, with one auto on the Jarvan would have been enough for him to take him down there. But
yeah,
no,
and this that's now 5-0.
0 kills. And Painful, 0 and 3, 8 minutes into the game. Oh, top lane, which he has used all out here. Fights the Q3 as well. Elia will use the ultimate, and Gucci will be
oh my god, good pick!
Surely Lightside get their first kill of the game here. W forward from Emp. He has the ultimate. Will use it. Doesn't land though. He has flash. Will use it. But the stun comes down from Rectal and it's gonna stay alive. No way. One auto is all Emp needs.
Okay, he got it.
Go.
This Lightside roster is so greedy. Emp Butchie went for the outplay. He managed to dodge the Renekton flash Q. Not only that, Emp didn't flash ult. He ulted thinking it will hit, but he almost lost the kill because of it.
Yeah, so that was really greedy, but yeah, and ESP, really nice answer. We'll start with the Dragon Lightside with 2 members. Look at them, maybe to contest it, but the mid prio for ESP means that Lightside can't really do anything here. LeBlanc would be first, and Painful can't do anything right now.
Not only can't Painful do anything, Nitchit can't do anything because of the bot wave. If you can pan out the camp to bot wave, I think it's freezing. Yeah, it's freezing, and LeBlanc has perma move because of the mid state. So the question here is that how will they get out? Oh, never mind. I think give it 10 to 20 seconds and they will be able to unfreeze this.
Will he find it? He won't either dash out from Dr. Chaos and it's going to be completely fine.
Yeah, so Painful will have to hard push this and go help out bot lane, while Viego also has to go to bot after Grom, which they are doing. And they spot the Jarvan. Yeah, now they will be able to fix the wave. But still, the CS gap that they had bot lane is very
Shrinking.
Oh wait,
Rel taking a lot of damage there. Chakroms have to come down from Nitchit. We get some more damage on the Rel actually, and Lightside will be able to crash the wave here bot lane. Oh, and actually the ultimate doesn't hit.
That was almost a good ult.
Yeah.
Almost a good one. But yeah, it's just a lot of... Oh, okay.
Which he is going for once again. Has the Q3 here. Will it land though? No.
Yeah, he doesn't have ult yet. May have a couple of seconds left on that.
Yeah. Oh, this bot lane, or top lane rather, it looks like it could be very explosive. Just keeps trading back and forth here.
What are they doing here? Oh, that's something I do as well. When you're in a scenario where you can bait or you can fake a recall, you can always count down the amount of seconds it takes for the enemies to recall. And then you stay and push out an extra wave and then you instantly reset.
Oh.
Which is what Ninja did right here, and being able to back with a bit of extra gold might result in, you know, a major item completion, or might not. Don't know. Probably might just get boots or recurve bow or something like that. But in other scenarios, it can make a big difference. But game pause.
Yeah, another pause. I believe we're up to 3 now for this game.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the record for most amount of pauses in one game, but maybe we're getting close to it.
Yeah, I mean, the game is really close though. Even if it's 5 kills to 1, it's only a 500 gold difference, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, slight CS leader bot lane for Nitchit, of course. He has a cool, so he gets 1 more gold per CS. And
Yeah.
1 plate here bot lane as well.
Yeah, and also important to note that when the item is completed and you sell it, it's what do you call it? It's kind of a catfish, you know, like it boosts your stats because it says that you have such a big gold difference, but in reality you don't really have that gold because you use it on buying coal, right? It's like a, you know, I know some ADCs that abuse that fact to make their stats look better in NLC Div 1. I just wanna point it out there.
Okay. Oh, composites.
Yeah.
Had he dashed back there, he would have found Rakan there in his face, but no. Rift Herald has been started up here and will be taking down 4 ESP. Nicely done. Utilizing this Jarvan, getting some early aggression, doing it very nicely, I would say.
Yeah, we can
Maybe
also...
maybe not as much gold on the Jinx as they would like, though. They should try to put this Rift Herald bot lane to get it into the pocket of Vispesh.
Yeah. So the thing here is that Esp is in a really good position right here. Like, not only are they able to play the Herald whenever they want because of the mid prio, but they're also able to play the Herald while having item advantages. You can see on the jungle mid, they have item... Wait, what happened top lane?
What? Wait, what?
Butcher just solo killed them. Just a classic Butcher play, no?
Yeah, Butcher is something, man. That's just what he does.
Okay.
It's like both junglers looking around this bot lane, but nothing will be happening, it looks like.
Yeah, and a big thing to look for here is that will Renekton TP top?
EQ?
I don't think he should TP, and he uses the TP top. So what this tells me is that Esp can't properly play next Herald because they have to still respect the Butcher TP. And that may be a deciding factor in this game. Or okay.
Went forward and he's gotta go down once again mid lane. 0 and 4 on the Victor.
0 and 4. That's bizarre. Now, the question is, what's the world record of amount of deaths, but still being add-ons? Yes. Like...
Yeah. ESP will find the mid tower here.
Will he die here though? Emp is playing with fire here.
Root that gets hit by the EQ.
Okay, he's going for the play.
Oh my god. It's nicely played by Composite, but he will fall to Dr. Chaos.
He goes there and he goes fast.
And I don't think that's worth for Emp. We'll now get the replay top here.
We'll
what happened there is Butchie got the solo kill. He has the all out. Renekton has the ultimate. I guess he has to hit the Q3 here. How does he find the
Interesting,
solo kill here?
Yeah. Oh, that was. Is that it? No E Renekton.
Oh no,
yeah,
no,
beautifully
it's just,
played.
no way.
No, it was all Butchie. Perfectly played.
It was, of course.
It's a good punish, but
play.
oh, mid again.
Painful has flash, down to half HP. Competence is here. Amp is here though to help out. Maybe they can turn this one around. Painful will at least survive here. Struggling so much in this mid lane.
Yeah, and I don't think this is very normal from Painful. Usually I see him pop off. Even when we do queue, he played against Niski. He did great.
Yeah.
But here, makes me doubt myself. Do I want to continue to do with him? Or I don't know.
Yeah, the jungle pressure here from the Jarvan has really been working out for ESP, who find themselves with 2 early dragons. They have found the Rift Herald, and they've gotten so many kills, 7 on the board for them. And it's on key targets as well. 3 on the LeBlanc, only 1 on the Jinx thus far. And Jarvan sitting on 3 for himself as well.
Yeah, they have 2 Drakes. Herald spawning, not sure.
He's getting so much damage on towards the LeBlanc that went for the 1v1 there.
Now they want to trade the top tower for this bot tower. Let's see if they're able to do that. They should be able to do that.
The Lightside should probably look for this Renekton here. Has flash, has dominance. Will probably be able to get out. Grand entrance though from Dr. Chaos. He doesn't have ult right now. Stun comes down, but the Renekton is going to be fine. Just going to be a 1-for-1 in towers here.
Yeah, and if you can pan the camera to bot lane, I think Jinx is waiting to kill off the tower. Yeah, just letting as many minions die as possible. Really good job.
Yeah, nicely played there by Dispatch. Denying some gold there from Nitchit. Still though, AD carries are pretty much even on farm.
Yeah.
Oh, Nitchit finds the Jarvan.
Oh, forcing him out of the jungle, but I think... Oh, he didn't lose the cannon.
Oh really?
1 HP. Jinx tried her best, but it wasn't enough. But Painful yet again!
He has flash. He's going to be fine, surely. Tries to turn it around. Emp is here. Tries to go to turn around. Painful flash over the wall. Nicely done there. Will stay alive for now. Jinx get again. Butchie up against the Renekton. Has the all out. Will use it. Renekton flashes out. Emp is here. They can't find the stun. Will they find the reset?
Oh my god.
He will find
reset.
Emp turns into a crocodile. Will get the stun with the Jarvan. Oh my god, Butchie fell forward. And they will find another one. Diego will go absolutely huge in his fights. Turns into a horse. Crocodile, horse, what other animals are there? There's an entire zoo here for Amp to play. And they will now look for the Jarvan.
He might die here.
Stun comes down.
He might die here. He dies here. What can Butchie?
Will get rooted up and it's probably going to fall here. Over aggression from Lightside gets punished by ESP.
The greed.
Lightside still on the other side of the map, finding the bot lane outer tower.
I mean, Basic, this doesn't look like a 2-6 team.
It doesn't.
Sure, they got ahead early game, but still, I don't think... Are they bottom in the league, or...
Yeah, they're in ninth place right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're doing well. They are
yeah,
really
I mean,
doing
especially
well.
Composites, he's been pushing his lead quite a bit.
Yeah, Elia...
Oh, look, oh, this is...
For some, surely doesn't go for the 1v2 here.
Can he one-shot it, though?
No, it's Gordrinker. He can't do that anymore.
Oh, that's true.
Thankfully.
But yeah, look at this mid and top. 030, 150 farm, 050, 150 farm.
Yeah.
Maybe they have like a bet going on?
It's
Maybe
so
not,
even.
I don't know.
ESP with a slight goal lead, 1,000, almost 2k.
Oh, they're looking.
We'll find the Renekton here. No flash, has dominance. So much damage coming out from Nitchit and alive forward. Gordrinker is up, he will not use it. Down super low here. He gets a nice heal there. Oh, and the ultimate whips. Don't think it would have been enough though.
Yeah, I mean the Aphelios doesn't have enough damage at this point, but still they were able to almost get him.
Yeah, they force him back. He will at least miss some minions and XP there, but no kills on the board for Nitchit. Not that side. There's 0-0 and 0, 18 minutes into this game. And he's just looking, pressing tab right now. Why is my mid 0 and 5? Hello?
Yeah, and almost 3k gold.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, clearly static shift LeBlanc still works.
But you're a light side believer. Do you think that they will be able to win this game, even while being so far behind on their carry?
I said before the game, I think if light side are in a fine state, 15-20 minutes into the game, they should be okay. Jarvan going forward though, finding painful once again. No flash. He gets caught in the cage, taking so much damage. Jarvan takes some damage. Nikki gets found by the LeBlanc. Gets killed. Huge pick here. And meanwhile, Butchie is in the middle of everyone. LeBlanc dealing so much damage onto Dr. Chaos. Now Butchie, he takes the tower there, goes down to Whisper to get the killing spree. And LeBlanc still looking for even more here. And super low, can't find the damage. And Dr. Chaos doesn't have Ignite here.
Oh my god.
Composite is just absolutely huge here on the LeBlanc. Dr. Chaos will survive, but everyone will survive from ESP, who plays the Rift on mid lane, find the inner tower, can't even find the inhibitor tower here, pre-20 minutes. Looks like they won't go for it though, they want to take Soul Pointer instead.
Yeah, I mean, this is completely crazy. Composites going pants deep, 1v2, and being able to outplay it as well. Does he know his limits, or was he unlucky? Or lucky, I mean.
It's super deep here, and there's no one from light side helping out Nitzit at all. No summoners on the Felios means he's just instantly dead here.
Yeah, really well played from Composites this fight.
Yeah,
now,
how does it feel to be an AD carry there if you're the Aphelios and your team doesn't do anything to help you?
Well, you just press tab and spam ping mid lane. That's all you can do. And beautiful W to dodge the Rakan W.
Yeah.
Then they just get last kill as well. Now, luckily for light side, Baron wasn't up. Again, 30 seconds.
Yeah, true.
So maybe they still... Oh, they're just starting it.
They are 4,000 gold ahead there. Yeah, Felios showed bot lane, I think. And they will start it up. It's quite a slow Baron take for now. They do have the Jinx though. Actually, Chaos takes some damage from Composites. Dominus gets UT by Renekton, just stalling for his team to take the Baron here. Painful finds vision onto the Baron, that's down to 4,000 health already. Butchie trying to go on towards Renekton. Ample before to dash in there over the wall. 3k on Baron. Is he going to be a 50-50 here? ESP taken down quite low.
Yeah, Butchie gets
caught by the EQ and it's going to go down here. A nice pick here. Jinx gets excited. Baron down to 2,000 gold. They will go for it. Can he find the sit? Oh my god, and Elias so low. Amp will lose his life. He can Elias get up with 3 members at least here. They will do it. Amp finding the Baron steal. And ESP maybe taking the Baron a bit too low there. They don't want a 50-50. They were 4,000 gold ahead. Should still be able to pick up these inhibitors. Lightside lost 2 members, but they Lightside find the Baron, getting so much gold and XP for the team there.
Yeah, that could have been game. But they found themselves getting the Baron and buying themselves a bit more time. But then you have to ask, what does that time get you? Well, it got Aphelios, second item.
Yeah.
And might get Victor's second item as well. But LeBlanc will just get stronger. On the verge of getting third item, Lichbane. Completely broken after those 3 items. Yeah, I think it will only get harder now.
Yeah. And the next really big thing is the Ocean Dragon up in 3 minutes. Of course, if ESP get that, it's soul for them, which would be, yeah, I mean, I think pretty much the last nail in the coffin. Although Lightside, of course, only 3,000 gold behind. And we'll see Painful, yeah, still not winning those trades.
Yeah.
Struggling a bit. He's still ahead on farm, though. Somehow.
That is true. Still ahead in farm.
Wow.
But his Dark Seal is on 0 stacks. It's just delaying his item power spike. It's a bit awkward to have it in this state.
Yeah. It's so rough on Victor as well. You want to get those early takedowns to get the item or the what's it called, the upgrade earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. So the question is like, what are Lightside talking about? Like, are they trying to figure out some way to fight 4v4 to keep that LeBlanc in the side lane, busy clearing those super Baron minions, or will they wait it out and try to flip the soul? Like, that's what I'm wondering right now, because either they make a play now, they wait for soul, and they have to deal with LeBlanc.
Yeah, I think for now they're just waiting. They will try to get as strong as possible and then flip it on Soul. I think that's what Lysa have to do at this point. And they have to try to lock down the LeBlanc. No defensive items. Of course, looks like she will have the flash up for the Dragon. But if Dr. Chaos can find the engage onto the LeBlanc, if they can lock her down, she is very squishy. But of course, has proven very difficult to kill thus far this game.
I have to ask though, has ESP made any changes in the roster, or have they been these 5 all throughout the split?
I'm not sure about support.
They swapped coach, I heard.
Yeah, they swapped coach apparently. I
Is
think
that enough?
I mean,
Maybe it
looks
was.
like it.
It's like some Yamato pre-game, like, you know, speech
Yeah.
that like gets them going. That fire.
Well, I suppose you as a player, you have been playing for many teams. You had different coaches. You yourself should be able to say if a coach can make a big difference.
A big difference, I don't know. I think it's nice to have that change. Like changing a small thing might be enough. Yeah. Oh, they're giving soul for the tower. I mean, they were not gonna win that fight anyway, so
yeah,
at least they get some gold in their back pockets. But yeah, I was gonna mention that just like switching anything can make the team go back to the start, to their honeymoon phase, right? Where they play as at their best. And it doesn't need to be a good change, it just needs to be a change.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also something about when you speak about Venomcrest, the team that's currently haven't lost a single game.
Yeah.
It's possible that you stop improving, that you get complacent, that you're just happy with how it's going. They're 12-0, yeah. Right? They're just, we're winning, we're doing good, okay. When scrims went fine, okay, boys. Officials tomorrow, have a nice evening, and they don't look to improve. Of course, every single team always looks to beat the best team. Everyone has to keep improving. And it looks like ESP are doing exactly that.
Yeah, there's 1 minute left on this Baron. And LeBlanc's items
get caught here. Yes, the Grand Entrance over the wall though.
Yeah, but if I'm Aphelis, I'm pressing tab, looking at LeBlanc, without flash as well, this is gonna be so scary.
Yes. Has the game, of course.
They're gonna look here.
Once again, the Jarvan. Jarvan can get used here. Butchie and Dr. Chaos are stuck in it. Dr. Chaos probably gonna fall here. We'll be able to see alive for now. Painful on the wall, tries to dish out some damage. Butchie finds the LeBlanc. Can they kill her though? No, but she can't do anything in the fight. Nice side. Now, 5v4. They find 1 kill, I believe. No, it's only
Aphelis flamethrower!
Oh my god. Need to carry this out of damage in the fight. So low health bars. Everyone, no one's dying though. Amp will be the first one dying. LeBlanc gets the first kill. Painful will fall as well. But they find the Rel only. Butchie tries to be the hero here, but he will fall. Jinx is exciting this one. It is ESP finding the fight. It was so close, but the fight was just a bit too long. Ocean Soul heals up ESP. They managed to sustain through it, and it looks like they will take down Lightside in this game after a really nice early game. But Lightside aren't down here. Nitty gets caught though. It's going to be game. Really nice EQ once again by Stefanoce on the Jarvan, who has had a phenomenal performance along with Composites in this game as they take down Lightside.
Well played to ESP. Holy. I just gotta say that even with such a good team fighting angle from Lightside, it was so doomed. They just couldn't deal out the damage. And, you know, maybe it would have been another story if Aphelis had like 1 more items or Victor had, you know, like his 3rd item as well. But in this case, they were, you know, chanceless. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah, the Ocean Soul just proving itself so valuable there. As the fight went on for a bit too long, Lightside couldn't find the kill. Had they killed LeBlanc, it could have been a whole different story, but they didn't. And ESP just sustained with that soul. It's just so OP in those prolonged fights. And like I said, after a wonderful early game from ESP, they managed to just take it away. Really well played by them.
Yeah, and I thought Lightside would win that fight and make a comeback, you know? I all had it, you know, figured out in my head, but that's not the reality we live in.
Yeah, no, instead, ESP finding another win, moving from 2-6 to 3-6. It's a huge improvement for them, and they looked really good. They didn't look like a team that's in 9th place. Maybe, I mean, of course, they can still make playoffs. They have a lot of games to play, and they have another game to play today, actually. So
Yeah.
if you want to see more from them, you should stick around because they will be playing another game in, I believe it's 20 minutes, unless the game gets a bit earlier, perhaps. Well, we'll see. Stick around to watch another game of ESP. Clearly, they're doing well right now. This was Basic together with Rusty Sniper taking it away for these 2 games. Have a fantastic evening and enjoy the rest of the cast.
Peace out.
Hello and welcome back to the NLC. 2 new casters take you through 2 more games, but we have to kick it off. Anima with ESP. I'm J-Real. This is EK. How are you doing, EK, man? Are you having a good day?
I am having a great day. I've been playing a lot of League of Legends myself. I've been watching League of Legends. This entire day has just been League of Legends. So that sounds like a good day to me. So how are you doing?
Now, indeed, you know what? I also kicked the day off with a bit of League of Legends. I had to try the new champ. Admittedly, we're not going to see it on this cast, right? We're not on that patch. We're on 13-13. We're not skipping to 13-14 just yet. So, no, what's the dog doing? Questions going to be coming out just now. Unless we maybe see, some Nasus or some Warwick, but they are lesser played. So, with that being said, Espigard, Anima coming up. We obviously have seen Lundqvist pick up a big win in Game 1. Then Espigard kind of took their crown in Game 2. Do we maybe see Anima keep the tradition alive of you can't win your second game?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready for that. So for anyone who is unaware, we have Anima sitting at 2-10, and we have ESP sitting at 3-6 right now after that win that they picked up against LLS just now. And yeah, I'm ready for Anima to just completely take over this game and keep the trend alive of not being allowed to win 2 games in a row.
I respect it. And you know what? They need to, right? I was on the stream a while back, maybe like a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about, okay, it's early doors, it's fine, you didn't need to worry about how the standings starting to look. We're now in week 6. This is the last couple of games of week 6. You're going into the last 2 weeks. This is where it starts to all count. Anima have already played 12 games, as you said. They don't have any left. They need to start picking up these Ws. But Espigard, they have a bit more luxury, right? They have like 8 games left. They just picked up a win, so they're 3-6. They're kind of chilling a little bit more, but this is a prospect where you feel like you have to be picking up wins here.
Yeah, and especially when you're trying to climb the standings and you're like at like this edge of being at the bottom and being like around the middle, you really want to pick up the wins against the teams who are below you. There are currently there are currently 2 teams around their standing, and you really want to make sure you take both of them down, because if you take them down, at least you're pushing yourself up a little bit, and then then you can start losing against Venom Crest. You can start losing against some other teams who are in the top 3, because there isn't that much room for you to beat them if they're just simply better teams. But if you want to at least try and make your way into playoffs, just make sure you at least do the baseline thing, which is taking down the teams that are around and under you.
No, indeed. No, obviously, everyone wants to go in with the mindset of you can beat any team. Any given day, it can happen. Best of ones notorious for upsets to occur. But obviously, at the end of the day, the games where you think you should win, you know that you're a better team, that's where you have to pick up those Ws, because any losses, one loss could change it all for you, right? You could miss out on that playoff spot, or even the seeding could become pretty important, right? No one wants to take on number 1 in the first round of playoffs and get knocked straight out. So with that being said, I think obviously for Espigard, the whole thought mindset has to just be pick up as many wins as possible, get yourself as good a seeding as possible. Whereas for Anima, it's kind of do or die. You either win now, put yourself in a potential situation, or you lose. But we're going to go straight into draft, so let's talk about some of these picks. Obviously, a lot of favorites have been kind of shifting throughout the metas, but what are you kind of expecting? I know Anima love this Cassandra, they love that tank top. Do you reckon they're going to go for it early, or do they maybe go for a bit later?
Well, the thing I was expecting happened immediately. I was expecting LeBlanc to be taken off the board here. We just saw Composites having an amazing pop-up performance on LeBlanc in his previous game, so having that being banned is no surprise to me. Now, the picks I'm looking at right now are the picks like the Kai'Sa, picks like the Xayah, picks like the Jace, just picks that have been rising in popularity across pretty much the entire world. Now we see Jace being taken off the board here. Nidalee being banned. I'm assuming that's mostly aimed at Anima's jungler, who, as far as I heard, is a bit of an early game beast, and playing champions like Nidalee can really enable someone who thrives in the early game.
Yeah, Nidalee, Lee Sin. I remember when I last watched Anima, I can't remember exactly who they were playing against. It may have even been Venom Crest, but they had such a crazy early game, right? They picked themselves into a bit of a corner. They weren't going to be going into the late game, but they managed to play out the early game so well with that Nidalee pick, which has now been banned. So they aren't going to be giving them that option, Espigard are like, you know what, we know one strength that you have, we're taking that away, we're cutting the legs from underneath you. But on the flip side, Anima kind of going for a bit of a mid prospect here. They've gone for the Jace, the LeBlanc, the Yasuo. They're really trying to pick out some of these main solo laners.
Now, with the Rel also being removed here, I think we open up a trifecta right now of the... Well, there we go. I was thinking Tristana, Xayah, or Kai'Sa. Those are like kind of the 3 champions I see first picked a lot. Now, I want to see what ESP takes at the board here. I would not be surprised if they take the Kai'Sa at the board here, because Kai'Sa is often paired with Tristana mid, because then you have an AD mid laner, and you have an AP bot laner, and you have this nice damage profile. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Kai'Sa is taken at the board here by ESP, locking it in early here. but instead they are looking to lock in the Xayah, which does open up the window for Anima to lock in the Kaisa in second rotation. Unless you want to send the Kaisa to mid lane here, that's possible.
Oh. Is it still a big thing? I know that when the stack shift was first out, obviously LeBlanc was big, Kaisa mid was popping off. Is it still as potent as it once was before? Because things like Ahri is still on the Rift as well.
Yeah, I think the static shift build is still really. Ooh, now okay, that's a champion I haven't seen too much, but I love watching Lee Sin. But just to finish up the Kai'Sa point real quick before we move on, I think, or the static point, I think static is still really strong. It's just less strong on champions who don't utilize the attack speed as well. You know, if you run into something like an Ahri, you don't really care about most of the stats, you just want to have the push. And I think when you lose it on a champion like Kai'Sa, it's still very good because it also solves for a wave clear problem. And with LeBlanc, it's still really good just because you stack it so ridiculously fast using your W that you can just always have it up.
Yeah.
Now, we do see the Kai'Sa picked here. I quite like this. I think we're looking at something like a Nautilus here as well for the side of Anima, just to make sure you have a bit of hard engage. But Ornn also serves a very similar purpose and is a very strong blind pick top lane.
Yeah, as you said, it's a good tank. It's good for the late game. It sets them up. They already have 2 ADCs. You know, you're not looking for too much more damage coming into your team. Set yourself up well. I'm maybe a little bit surprised they decided to lock in top so early and didn't go for maybe like a counter on the jungle, but maybe they got something in their back pocket that they're kind of waiting to bring out. When I talked about that Nidalee, it was, I believe, the 5th pick that they locked in, so there maybe is some room for wiggle there. But now looking on the other side, the Heimerdinger being hovered, I feel it would be surprising, right? It would have been a bit of a shock if that was the lock-in, but Braum, they're going to be coming in, give a bit of defense, really good against the Ornn as well. So yeah, I like the pick.
Yeah, I really like it because, first of all, as you mentioned, it's really good against the Ornn, but it also kind of dissuades locking in a melee support for the side of Anima because melee supports have a tough time laning into the Braum just because they run into the Braum stacking passive. Now, we do see top lane is taken off the board here on the side of Anima, which makes sense. You want to have the Ornn be in a good matchup. I would not be surprised. I don't know what Elijah plays exactly, but I wouldn't be surprised if they also take stuff off the board like the Fiora potentially, who can make the life of an Ornn quite difficult. Maybe Renekton, although I'm not the biggest fan of Renekton into Ornn. I think you have to snowball early game, or you kind of are like a less effective version.
Yeah, and would you feel like that's maybe a bit of a waste of resources as well? You've got the Lee Sin, you've got the early game, you could play into that Xayah, get them really, really strong. Obviously, could become a little bit problematic with the dive threats that they do have. I was thinking, is there a way they can maybe counter that? Yes, the Braum is going to be very good at peeling that Xayah. The Xayah obviously has the Feather Storm as well, so could keep themselves alive a little bit longer. But that's a lot of dive, right? Already with the Kai'Sa, already with the Tristana, the Ornn going to come through as well. The Renekton is going to be locked in, though. You're reading this like a book, I'm not going to lie.
All right, well, the Renekton is I think it's fine, but I'm a little bit in the people in the chat last time were pointing out that I'm a little bit in the Church of Aless camp, where as much as I like Renekton as a champion, I think he's a fine champion, but I do think that when you don't play around him at all, and you can with Lee Sin, don't get me wrong, Lee Sin can go top lane, you have chain CC with the Q into the stun, or sorry, the W of Renekton into the Lee Sin Q, you can get great kills, but you kind of want to activate him on the map. You want to make sure he does something before you just scale and match the Ornn, but at some point Ornn's going to become more valuable. Now, he does allow you to just leave him on an island, and you can then play towards your other lanes because Renekton is quite self-sufficient. You definitely made some eyes there at the Taric locked in, I agree. Yeah. Taric is a champion I haven't seen in a while, but I quite like him because there's a lot of dive coming in from the side of ESP here, and you just absorb it with the Taric ulti, and then you re-engage. You have double AD carry who could kind of like melt through frontline, and you re-engage upon them. I think I quite like it, although you do give up a little bit of lane pressure in the early game bot lane.
Yeah, like it definitely was a little bit surprising to me. You know, like as you said, I've not really seen much Taric either. You know, like it's not the most common pick, but I do think it can do really well intermediate scores, kind of similar to Braum in that respect of you can get up close and personal, you can hit that dazzle, you can keep hitting those heals in those later fights when you have a bit more mana, and the damage really does start to ramp up as well. So I think it's a lot that they have there, and also with the Cosmic Radiance, you're setting yourself up for that going forward momentum, right? We talked about how Xayah could spend a bit of time to give them a little bit more room. Braum as well with the Glacial Fissure and also the shield could keep them off of that ADC, but it doesn't matter if they've got 2.5 seconds of invulnerability.
Yeah, you can do this really fun thing. It's a bit risky, but if you're trying to turn around the fight when they're diving upon you, you throw down the Taric ultimate, and the moment Taric ultimate comes off, Tristana can jump forward, Ornhorn comes in, Kaiser can ultimate forward, and you have 2.5 seconds where you can just play into whatever position you want to because you can't be killed. And as long as you use those 2 seconds properly and you secure a kill on one of their backline champions, you can use it as a reset tool for the Viego, who can then kind of start taking over a team fight. There are quite some good champions. Imagine if he takes over the Braum. You have the Braum passive coming through. It's really, really strong. So I like it. It does, of course, come down to, hey, can they make sure they get the ultimate off, because the cast time is reasonably long and you don't want to
2.5 seconds.
Use it when half your team's already dead. But it's really powerful.
Yeah, no, it is indeed. And I will say, we didn't really talk about it too much, but it did sneak in as that 5th pick on the red side. The Syndra was locked in, and again, it is giving the same energy as what we've seen a lot from that comp, right? Apart from the Lee Sin and the Renekton, there's not too much let's dive into the backline, right? You've got Braum, Syndra, both really good for peeling. The Xayah are notorious for being a kite machine, right? They're not good at going aggressive, they're good at going backwards. The Lee Sin as well can peel with that kick, right? You don't have to use Dragon's Rage for the aggressive. You don't have to always go for the insect play. Shout out to you, man, in a solo queue. It can be used offensively, and same with Renekton as well. So I do think that they have the capabilities to play this fight a little bit more kitey from the side of Espigard. But what I am wondering is if that's actually going to be able to be successful, because you are going to be quite a strong fortress, but are those walls going to be broken by the dive potential that is coming out from Anima?
Now, what I'm looking at myself right now for the side of ESP here is Lee Sin having good early game impact, and he has tools for it. Because if we're looking at his laners, we have the Renekton W to set up the queue. We have the Syndra Scatter the Weak to set up the queue. We have the Braum coming in to set up the queue with the Xayah Fedas on top of that as well. So there are multiple different setup opportunities in every single lane. And I like that when you are playing with a Lee Sin. I don't like Lee Sin when you don't have a champion that can enable a free queue. And he has them in every single lane here. So I want to see how he paths and if he can start taking over this early game. Because there are multiple champions on the side of ESP who can really take over once they do get ahead.
Yeah, pressure is on Stefan Nuti. We'll see if he can get that early game going, because, as we said, a couple of lanes are going to need it, right? The Syndra might need a little bit of assistance as well against Karok on this Tristana, because, you know what, it can be a bit snowbally, right? A couple of ganks from Viego could change that whole lane into a big, big nightmare. And obviously, when Tristana is popular, tower taking is at a premium. If they can open up Karok from that mid lane, let him go into that bot lane or the top side, a lot of these structures could be falling fast, Goldie can be accumulated quickly, and Anima might find themselves in a very strong mid game.
Yeah, and one thing that we haven't really talked about is how many resets there are on the side of Anima. We have both the Viego as well as Tristana able to reset. So if you do find that first kill, you get some poke with the AP damage from the Kaiser W, you get a kill, you then start chaining this back to back to back, and you can really start taking over a team fight, like snowballing it. I quite like making sure,
yeah, and you got to remember the most important reset, right? The Taric passive reset from the queue, like those extra autos. I'm telling you, we're going to have a fight where it comes down to Taric just being alive and absolutely mashing up that damage. But I do agree with you, right? It's something you have to keep track of, right? The Viego, the Tristana, they're going to be able to move around a lot in that fight. Can you lock them down for long enough? Can you keep them in a position? Is going to be a big question on the minds. But right now, the question is, where are these ganks going to happen early on? Lee Sin starting top, so is Viego. They're both pathing down bot side. Are you expecting a lot of pressure in that bot lane?
I think I'm expecting more pressure from the side of ESP here. I think Anima has a slightly harder time setting up a gank. Yeah, you can move in with the Taric stun, but it is quite telegraphed and it's quite easy to disengage using the Braum shield. But I do think Lee Sin can play around bot lane quite well. We do see both junglers moving forward, moving towards bot lane. We do not have Stefan Nuti coming in mid lane here though, and I think the jump was just used by Karok. Although they're not moving in for it. I think they're waiting for level 3. Here they go. Can they set up the stun?
Oh, Compasses looking for this. Good flash away for Karok, but still going to get hit with the Q. A bit of damage, and it's all over. First blood to Stefan Nuti. And we talked about this mid being potentially a problem. We talked about Stefan Nuti needing to have a good early game, and we're seeing it already in action.
Yeah, once again, Composites, just like last game, he is the one who sets up the play for his team. He gets the stun, he gets the kill. Well, the kill goes to Lee Sin, but he sets up a lane quite well here. He still has the teleport available, so he can now choose when he wants to reset. He can just, freeze his wave, push the wave. He can choose what he wants to do. The one annoying thing is you can't really push that well in the trace because she just automatically shots waves with her explosive shot.
Yeah.
But you still have to teleport to just kind of like decide, hey, I want to go back and pick up something.
Yeah, and now I'm looking for kind of Frost to have some sort of answer back, right? It's still early on. We only just got the Scuttle Crab spawning, so I'm not expecting ganks to be flying out from this Viego. Obviously, level 6 is a really strong power spike. Although this top side, I will say, we have to give a bit of respect to Elijah, you know, has been making it work, putting Vince under a lot of pressure.
You know, I like how he's playing this top lane matchup here because he's making sure the wave pushes back into him, and then he zones the Ornn off the wave, which allows him to create a bit of CS lead. Like, this is how you have to play Renekton. Like, I don't want to see Renekton just match CS and not have kill threat, and in this way you can build up a bit of CS lead. He doesn't really have a big lead as of yet, but I do think the wave is still pushing into him, and he can commit to a freeze as long as he wants to. He can get the reset off and just keep the freeze going. You should see them also trying to, you know, make sure the wave crashes bot lane. They're probably going to look for a reset right now. And I do want to see where Stefanovic keeps going. He has come up the reset right now. He's clearing topside again. And he could try and look for top scuttle. But I think Frost has already claimed the scuttle. Yes.
They have indeed, and they are now looking to lurk into this mid. Pushback was going to be used, but Composite's in a bit of trouble here, going to flash away. One more auto would do it, but Frost already burning his summon up there, so cannot make anything happen. And Elijah keeping Vince very much pushed away, so if he was in the top side, but not going to get a gank off just yet. And dragons are going to start to be spawning. Obviously, dragon a really big part of this game. Do you feel like there will be quite a lot of pressure around it, given the fact that obviously that bot mid is going to be quite important for both teams?
I do think dragons are very important, but especially to the side of ESP, I kind of do want them to try and make some plays around the Herald happen. I think Herald is very important. I think you want to get a lot of gold into your mid or top lane just to make sure that they can, you know, keep having the priority that you need to test future objectives. I just want to keep an eye on this Renekton lane because we can see 17 CS so far has been developed. We do see Dovendir moving mid lane.
We do see indeed. We're going to have to see if this turns into anything, though, because right now Grog is quite far away. He's actually on a ward as well, so Dovendir, he might be sitting here for a while, but the Composites is not going to be falling for this one. Although, saying that...
Oh, the sidestep!
Oh, I didn't see Frost. I didn't see Frost there for a little bit. It almost could have come off, but a lot of time wasted, basically, by Composites there. He was able to keep them in that lane, a little bit kind of preoccupied, and because of that, they've been able to push in that bot lane. You know, they've been able to get a little bit of warding around that dragon as well, and so far, it feels pretty good if you're Asperger.
Now, the one thing I'm a little bit sad about, and I don't know exactly how the wave developed, but I kind of wanted Stefanovic to go top lane and with Elijah dive Vince and try and really get this lane ahead. Although I guess they're prioritizing the dragon right now, which is fine. The Renekton can build and keep building a bit of a lead of his own. And I could look to contest this, honestly, but it is almost dead.
It is almost dead. Should be fine. But the reset could be a little bit crucial there. 700. Will we get the smite fight? There's the steal. And it is now Anima that has a bit of a lead as they're going to go straight for one kill. Can they get more? Dashes and flashes away. The Composites might be called out. The shield there stopping the scatter the weak. And it's going to be another one given over to Anima. 2 kills and the dragon. Espergada kind of handing them a lot of resources there.
Yeah, I think Anima here getting a kill onto their AD carry and their mid laner is absolutely massive because those are the lanes that are quite self-sufficient for the side of Anima, and top lane is already losing in isolation as well. So you now, well, actually I'm looking at the wrong team right now.
Oh.
yes, I was gonna go for a big point here, then I realized, wait a second.
No, Anima did get a kill on their ADC. They got a kill on their ADC, they got a kill on their mid laner, and they got the dragon.
That's true.
But either way, it's fine. If you get back to your point, it's all good. Let's get back into this one. As right now, Elijah still keeping that pressure onto Vince, right? And what I want to ask you is kind of a little bit more clarity on how much you actually want Elijah to gain. Because you said you want to get the leads, you want to kind of keep yourself ahead. But how ahead does the Renekton have to be when realistically Composites and Vizpers is going to be your main source of the late game win?
Well, I want to see what's happening top lane right now because we do see Lee Sin moving in top lane. I think, yeah, they put some pressure down them. What I want ESP to do right now is I want them to use the pressure that Elijah has gotten in the 1v1 to make sure they can get a Herald. I think they're going for it. We do see Frost moving in as well, but Frost honestly shouldn't be able to contest this because we don't have the ability of Ornn to just move out of his lane. If he does that, he's both low HP, plus he would have to give up a wave to the turret. So they will now translate this into a lead for the side of ESP in general. Now you can throw this into the top lane.
Mid? Whoa.
What's happening?
Where is Sobak going? Just appeared out of nowhere there. Obviously, low vision there was shown by Cal on the production there. Shout out to him. As we saw that they can't really contest that Herald for multiple reasons, right? Composite able to move, as you said. Elijah also able to move before Vince, but the lack of vision as well giving them problems. I don't really know where Sobak was going in that whole play, but Anima have gone for the trade of the blue buff instead. They said, you know what, if we're not going to get Herald, we'll get a little bit of resources from your jungle instead. But is it going to net them into a big play? That's the question that I have, right? Because we talked about how Espigado, they need to have a strong early game. Okay, yes, they did lose the Dragon. They lost a couple kills for free. That was a little bit of a mishap. But overall, it does feel like they are commanding the early game and setting themselves up well.
Yeah, and I think what they need to do right now is they need to use this Herald to open up the, preferably, I'd say, mid lane. I kind of want Syndra to be able to just push in that wave and then disappear into fog. And like you could go back top lane and throw the Herald down there, but I think what you want to do is you want to use the Renekton as a tool to get the Herald and then have Lee Sin bring the Herald somewhere else and use it in that way. We have an all-in top lane here, though. I don't think this should result in a kill, but that could be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think Elijah is just, he's hoping. You know, he's hoping that he can get there, but he has had that pressure on Vince, right? He's up 20 CS. He's managed to push the waves in, get a bit of pressure, force the resets, take him kind of out of this early stage. But is it going to be enough? That's the question that we can ask a little bit later. But now let's have a little look at the rest of the map, right? Around the bot side, the mid side, it is all quite even. One kill basically separating both of those lanes. And we haven't seen too much from Stefanuti since that first gank in mid.
Oh, they're going very aggressive.
It's a bait. You got baited. They got you. DK,
Yeah.
they got you.
Yeah, they got me. I mean, I actually thought, and I guess I was wrong, but I actually thought I saw like the enemy jungler sneaking into one of these bushes. Did I completely like mess up? There he is!
Oh, there he is! Frost is here, and they're going aggressive. Dazzle is going to miss over here. Comes the Cosmic Radiance. That 2.5 HP less winds are going to come through there. You cannot die when the Cosmic is shining. And it shines well on Anima. They're picking up a nice kill in the bot lane, and they're not done just yet. They're going aggressive. Is Frost, but not going to get the stun onto Vespers. They will be able to stay alive. And need to use that Feather Storm. And good spot on the jungle. But oh wait, we're not done. Top lane, Elijah. He was in the lead, but maybe he's lost it all now. Vince going aggressive, still has flash. Maybe going to be able to get close enough. I think when he has the knock up, he might go for the play. But Blast Cone going to be a little bit too much distance. There will be Elijah that gets away, but is it a bit worrying that Elijah now can't 1v1 Yawn?
Yeah, it's very worrying when your Renekton starts losing, but I thought I was losing my sanity over there because I was looking at that play in bot lane and I was like, wait, didn't I just see the jungler go in there? We have no in top.
Dive, top lane, Karog. We talked about the Renekton losing. He may now have a little bit more time before that starts again.
You know, I'm sure Karag just hurt me and he was like, don't worry, I'll get this Renekton back on track.
I got you,
I'll give him a hand.
Indeed.
Call that an oopsie.
Yeah, no, indeed. Dominus, obviously a very, very strong game-changing ability there when you go for that dive. And yeah, Tristana, not the most notorious for tanking, but we are going to get another dragon, which I think is a bit risky, right? Anima have got the last steal. TP going to come through, but I think the dragon should be secured. It is going to go low. There is the take, but is the fight going to go their way into the backline? They dive. They've got one. I don't think they're going to be able to get more. Anima chasing down Espigard, but they will just run straight into their jungle to safety.
All right, dragons have been evened up. I think this is very nice for Anima. I mean, I definitely, if this game goes later, I definitely do favor Anima with a double AD carry composition, as well with a very good scaling jungler.
Ooh, composite.
He lives
so low, but not dead. And Stefan now stepping forward, but Frost able to get a bit of help from Dovendir and able to stay alive. A close fight. Maybe if he had his ultimate up, still could have gone more aggressive. But actually, Espigard using this little bit of an advantage to crack open some tower plates and give composites a little bit more gold. 3 to be exact. Going to get a bit of pressure back into the map.
All right, it's a good thing that they try and break this mid turret. I think you really want to just make sure you break this so you can push the division a bit deeper. You can also then help out Renekton, keep pressure up by rotating through the blue side jungle on the side of Anima, because you can path there quicker. I do wonder now if they're going to also try and put some pressure down bottom. We see Brawl moving in. There is no support right now for the side of Anima, but I think Relentless will just back off and respect the play.
Yeah, so trying to make plays, not happening so far. Has also been kind of like the sacrificial lamb for Esfigada so far. They've kind of just let him take the fall, which admittedly does kind of fit the play style, right? Stand behind Brom. You want him to go down first. But they are now going to start to reap some of the benefits of this and getting some more gold. And as we can see, Vespers hasn't fallen behind really against Kaisar just yet. So with this being kind of close to mid-game, we're getting to that 40-minute mark. Plates are going to drop off here. How are you kind of feeling about Esfigard versus Anima? You said that you are favouring that late game of Anima, but Esfigard, are they doing enough at the moment to keep themselves afloat?
I mean, I think at this point, they're definitely doing enough. They do have about a 2k gold lead. They do have gold in the right places. The Renekton is quite far ahead. The Xayah is just kind of scaling up, and Lee Sin is, well, in a pretty decent spot as well. He did finish with Mythic. I think what you want to do, you want to try and make sure Syndra has her Mythic before the next fight. I think she's going to base and pick up the Ludens right now. There we go. Ludens has been picked up. So now you have one core item on every single member. And now I really want to see ESP just trying to make some plays happen around the Herald. They're going to go aggressive here. I feel like if Anima tries to contest, they should just try and go for it all in here and really blow open the game. I think Anima shouldn't contest and just push the waves out and give this over. And I think that's what they're going to do. We do see them posturing around, but they don't have vision, so I don't think they can really do anything.
And I want to say, anyone in chat, you too as well, EK. If you wanted team fights, we're going to get them. Because it's Infernal Drake. It's hot season. We heard Middlecourt say it on Twitter a bit earlier. It's a bit warm. Global warming is happening. It's happened on the Rift. The temperature has risen. And we're going to get a few fights. But first, we're going to get this Herald to crash. Mid tower is going to break down. And goodbye to first brick over to Esfigard. Will they go for the second crash? They are going to keep this pressure up. As Anima are starting to rotate, the crash does land and a lot of damage onto that tier 2 mid. A successful push from Esfigard, and they're able to walk away.
Really nice that they broke the turret now. And now you can swap Vespers and Sobak into the mid lane. Make sure you keep permanent pressure on this mid lane. Make sure it's always pushed out. You do have pretty decent side laning. The only issue right now for the side of ESP is that Syndra is going to have trouble dealing with Tristan the later this game goes. So it's going to become rougher and rougher trying to get the 1-3-1 going, while on the side of Anima it is a bit easier.
Ooh,
another fight maybe?
Potentially getting into a bit of a scrap with Elijah. The 2v2 junglers and tops are going to go at it, but who has the advantage? Anima now starting to pull all of the stops out. There is the Ornhorn going to get the knock-up. Stops the Renekton in his tracks. Elijah going in, but here comes the third member. Relentless joining the fight, and Stefan trying to get out alive. Will jump away, but chase down Relentless. Enough damage. There's the last auto. Picks up a double, and Anima with the quick rotations get a win.
Oh no, that feels really bad. You send your 2 strongest members to try and fight the enemy team. You get double kill, 2 kills go into the Kaisa. Kaisa's already sitting on the static and is now building towards the Nashus. She is going to become so incredibly hard to deal with. And I feel like that was unfortunately very, very bad. Now, let's look at what happened top lane here. We do see an all-in between ESP's mid laner and Anima's mid laner. And yeah, it's just a fun button. You know, you press R, stuff dies. It's fun.
Oh, it's so rough to watch, man. It's worse when it happens to you, but it's like when you watch it, you're like, okay, was Karok going to make some good outplay? Was Composites going to just get him with every spell? It's just point click, you're done. Like, that's how it is. But either way, Dragon is going to be coming up talking about done. Who is going to be able to cook up this spicy Dragon meat that is Infernal for the third Drake of the game? It looks like Esfigard are going to be in position once again. They've been to first at every single Drake so far, but Frost is lurking. I think they're going to give this one up, though. It's a little bit too risky to steal, and the second will go over to ESP. So with that, Anima have used this time to get a little bit of damage onto towers, though, and they're starting to put a bit of pressure onto the map. But Karok able to stay away, but does finally get stunned up. Stefan going to step forward, and there is the unleashed power. They're coming out from Syndra. The Sonic Wave doesn't connect, and it isn't going to be a kill for Stefan.
Oh, that minion right there was such a hero for the side of Anima. Blocking the Lee Sin Q, dying just to save Karok. That's beautiful.
Oh, good stun there from Composites. They're not done yet. Stefan is back, and Frost is low. They are going to be able to get out, though. It's all good. What is the name for that? Because obviously you got Winions if they win you the game, but what's like a hero minion?
Ooh, like the next tier of Winion?
I feel like it's a tear down because like the hero one is kind of like it's not like a Superman. Like, we're not gonna have Minion Man because that would be I think too much, right? But they're like it's almost like your bodyguard kind of thing.
I don't know. I think we just call them like Minion Bro or something like that. They're like they're your real
like
bros.
That. Yeah, we'll try and mash it up into a word soon. But right now, Elijah. Maybe trying to think about this one when he's dead because he is being chased down. An easy kill will be handed over to Frost, and the TP will maybe put Composites in a bit of a rough position here. Stunned up, Frost though very low, gets taken out, and Composites will finally drop Vince with the last bit of damage to get a 2-for-1 and potentially this top tier tower.
I mean, it's looking rough for the side of ESP, let's be real here, but I do think that if anyone's going to carry right now, it is going to be Composites. And you may be wondering, hey, why am I saying it looks rough right now when looking at the scoreboard, we see like a 3k gold lead out of ESP? Well, I think it's going to get rougher and rougher right now because the Renekton is really starting to lose value. The Renekton is still ahead. He's still a lot stronger. He still has about a 1k gold lead. But there's going to be a point where Ornn just doesn't die to him anymore, and Ornn can just kind of face tank whatever he does. And Ornn is going to provide the value with his ultimate, and he's going to provide the value with the ornaments coming in very shortly as well, which is going to make the front to back a lot harder to do for the side of ESP. They're going to have to deal with an Ornn walking at them, who's going to be really, really tanky, while the backline of Anima will have the Tristana and the Kai'Sa, who I think will melt through the size of Renekton a lot easier.
No, indeed. Renekton, good in terms of tankiness because he can have that life steal, can make it difficult. Like we saw in that top lane fight, you know, was close to death, then saved the life a little bit longer, then died, but isn't the same as the Ornn, who is just bulk tanky, right? It's just a lot of HP to go through with the Taric as well, who can shield up members and heal them. It's going to be a little bit difficult to carve through them as swiftly. And as you said, there's 2 ADCs on the side of Anima, plus the Viego as well. It's a lot of damage coming through.
Now, Renekton can still provide a lot of value if he can find the flank. So as long as I keep the vision on the side of around the red buff for the side of Anima covered, Renekton could try and move through there and find a flank behind the side of Anima when they're trying to gain mid prio. But it does require him to be in a position where he has both Shock the Wave, they have the vision control, and Anima's overextending, which can be kind of hard to pull off.
It is. But if there's a will, there's a way, right?
That's true.
And we could get that creepy Croc, you know, like he could be in those swamps, he could be lurking, you know, at the nights in the Everglades in Florida, you know. They'd be lying in wait, you know. So maybe if Elijah can kind of get that energy, he can start to find these flanks. We'll have to find out how it is going to go because I do think there's going to be a lot of team fights, right? I do think there'll be a lot of potential for them to set those up. But it has felt that Espigard have had the right idea, but not necessarily the right execution in a lot of these plays.
Yeah, we do a dragon in 1 minute. I like what ESP is doing right now. They're just making sure they can set up the vision. They're trying to deny all the vision from the side of Anima. And, ooh, this could be very dangerous. Kraken is a bit of a rough position. There is a teleport available for Vincent who can try and move in here, but I think, yeah, he is just...
Oh, and it's not just in the bot lane. It is going to happen in the mid as well. Frost going to go aggressive here, gets the stun onto Sobek, but now maybe in a bit of trouble there. Doesn't have any more of that Cosmic Radiance from Dovedeer, and he is going to go down. So 1 kill from ESP in this mid lane, and they're just keeping it going. Relentless is very low, will go down as well. And the tank that we talked about is just going to disappear as ESP step forward and absolutely clear through the side of Anima.
Now, nothing I say has any impact when Composite just decides that he does not want to lose this game. It's like, I'm going to stun you, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to take your Baron right now. They should be able to also secure the Drake. They could go for a reset real quick, or they could try and get the Drake before the reset, which is a bit risky because they really want to spend their gold right now.
Yeah.
But also they don't want to give over the gold. Now, let's look at the replay here. We do see, I think, Anima going for a pretty decent play. I think they're trying to catch out Sobek. But Sobek has the shield right now. The stun comes through, the scatter weak comes through as well. And here we see an attempted turn. We have the Terra ulti coming through, but they can't really use it. They can't get to anyone. And then the Terra ulti runs out. They start dying, and Relentless just doesn't have the damage to burn through them. And then here, Composites is like, yeah, I'm going to destroy it. There we go. 1 shot into the... Isn't that going to be the ultimate as well? Never mind. It's going to just be the Q. The Q is sufficient. And they just completely clean the fight. Elijah is also moving in from the sides. You know, he's pulling up the flank as I told him to do so. But yeah, that was just all Composites.
And I really like what the fight highlighted there as well. It's what we talked about in draft pick, right? You mentioned it. You said Cosmic Radiance is great. It's 2.5 seconds of invulnerability. Who wouldn't want that, right? But it takes 2.5 seconds to get that of shield, and it also relies on you being in a position that you can actually use that invulnerability, that lack of HP loss. Because if you're not in an aggressive position, it doesn't really matter. And as we saw there, Cosmic Radiance comes down, they're not close enough to the targets. By the time that they basically get into battle, it's already started to wear off, and then they are open to ESP's damage coming back at them. And as we saw, they were able to do enough and win that fight.
Now, I do want to see what ESP can do right now with the Baron. They do have all lanes pushed. They have the Renekton, who's in a very strong position right now, who can try and pressure the side lanes. But there is a decent amount of wave clear available for Anima, where they can just kind of stand there and throw their spells at the wave, and they should be able to clear most of it. They also have a lot of engage potential if one side overextends when they're trying to spread too thin. So I want to see if they can break these inner turrets, because that's really where you break open the game. That's really where you start getting the massive amounts of gold.
Yeah, and I will say, talking about massive amount of goals, it's 7k gold lead, by the way, to ESP
Doesn't
right
feel
now.
like
Yeah, it felt like the game is a lot closer than it is by the gold because of, you know, ESP having a couple of whoopsie moments, right? But it is going their way very much. So they crack open some more tier 2s. That's going to increase the gold lead as well. And they're setting themselves up into a really strong position right now. So 40 seconds left on Baron. It looks like they're probably just going to start to reset here, start to set up for the next bit of the map. But we might go into a bit of a lull phase here, right? 3 minutes before any objective is going to be on the map.
Yeah, although the lull phase, even though it will probably last 3 minutes, it'll be over the moment Drake spawns, because that Drake is going to be extremely important. Now, ESP does have the inner track on this turret right now. You can try and rush it down real quick. I think they will get it, which also gives them the inhibitor. Now, I don't think losing one inhibitor is that big a deal, but when it is the one inhibitor that is opposed to the Baron when it does respawn, can create a bit of a pressure point. With teleport available on Tristo, shouldn't be a big problem.
Shouldn't be, but we'll see if it does start to bite them, right? Because obviously if you are setting up for Baron, if you can play a bit of a stall from ESP, you could set Anima into a pretty tough spot. But as we said, a couple minutes before any of that is going to occur, 2 minutes before the next Drake, and this one is important, right? ESP are one dragon away from Infernal Soul, the increased damage. It's not going to be what Anima wants to be facing.
And I think Deathcap's going to be picked up here by Composites. Yeah, there we go. He has a nice hat now. Now, that hat is going to give him a lot more damage. If he can find his way onto a squishy target, which is pretty much all the carry members from the side of Anima, he will absolutely one-shot them. He has to make sure that the ultimate isn't blocked by the Taric ultimate. But besides that, there isn't really anything that can really save any member from Anima just getting absolutely one-shot. So ESP has definitely put themselves into a position right now where their lead is big enough, where this game should be theirs as long as they just play it correctly. Especially because they do have the Infernal Soul to play for in just 1.5 minutes. So what I want them to do right now is just make sure they keep bot lane pushed, keep top lane pushed, keep mid lane pushed, and get the vision in the red side jungle of Anima as well, just to make sure that when they do try and walk up and get some vision, you can get a one-shot with Syndra.
Ooh, Stefan, maybe getting caught out there. I want to ask you quickly, what's kind of the opposite side of this, right? What's Anima's play here? Are they just trying to stall time for a certain amount of gold or a certain amount of items, or what are they really looking for? Because they have to surely fight for this dragon.
Yeah, you really want to, in an ideal world, you want to get your Ornn to the point where he can start giving you the ornaments, and you want to get your AD carry and your mid lane here to like 3 to 4 items, where you can really start just melting through these front lines. Unfortunately for Anima, they've kind of gotten themselves into a position right now where they've fallen so far behind and have given up so many Drakes that they can't really afford to wait for anymore. You can give up the Infernal Soul, I suppose. It's very risky, and then try and play for the Elder as it spawns after. But losing Infernal Soul means you're going to have a hard time winning future fights. Plus, you're going to really struggle defending against the Baron. So I think even though it's not the correct play technically, from a, will we win the team fight kind of sense, I think Anima should look for a way into it.
Well, they've got to make it fast. 15 seconds and counting. Infernal Drake is coming alive, and we are going to get a fight pretty early on. Anima now going to drop the Celestial Cosmic Radiance, and they are going aggressive, but Elijah is just in the middle of this fight, not going down, and goodbye already to Tristana. Big stuns are going to come through, and Composites just racks up kill after kill, and that will fit the bill. It's going to be a quick end for Espegarde to close out this Anima game, and in a pretty strong fashion. Ace right next to the base. They're looking to end it quick pace.
Oh my god, Relentless just absolutely disappeared there. If we possessed the tech, I would love to have a slow-mo replay of what happened to Relentless there, because I think he just died within like frame. That was absolutely beautiful. That is ESP taking the game over Anima and making sure they can keep their climb alive where they're trying to climb to the middle of the pack.
Yeah, and they also break the mini curse that we had, right? They can't win 2 games back to back. They said, you know what? No, we're not doing that. We're going to pick up the win here. And they did it. And we are going to get that replay.
Ah, thank you, production. Let me watch this guy. Okay, so Relentless is trying to move into a fight. Gets stunned.
Oh.
Okay, watch this.
No. Oh, the Cosmic Radiance was so close as well. Oh no, it's so disgusting, man.
You know,
it's disgusting.
Like, as someone who plays mainly the carry, that's happened to me a million times, and it never feels good. But that was so much damage. It was almost a thing of beauty. That was.
And like at the end of that fight as well, like it's not only that. Composites comes to the back of the fight and gets a double stun, more damage, more kills. It was just more life for him, you know. And it was all over a Drake, right? So it's a sentiment where sometimes you gotta give it up. But I do think that was the right play, right, for Anima. They were backed into a corner. They had to go for something. If they give over Infernal Drake, so it's going to be problematic for them in the late run. And yeah, you had to give it a go. So shout out to them. But Espagada just being a bit better. They just felt very clean, very clinical.
I think Espagada can be very happy as well that the soul that they had in their game was going to be Infernal. Because if that was going to be like a Chemtech Drake, you're like, well, I mean, we don't want to give it up, but giving us up, like, it's not going to end the game right now. We can just sit back, take some more waves, try and get some jungle camps, and make sure we fight when the Elder spawns. But the fact that it is what is probably going to be the strongest soul in the game, if not that, it's probably going to be Hextech. You know, it kind of did force Anima to just go in for the fight, even though they really didn't want to. And you saw why, because there was so much of a goal difference there. There was so much damage, especially in Composites. Composites just moved in there, pressed his buttons, and Relentless just absolutely exploded. And it's very difficult to protect him from that, because one stray ability hits him and he just disappears.
It's the life of an ADC. You know, they picked two ADCs. They picked two ADCs. Like, yeah, one of them's going mid, but he's still an ADC. He's still going to get crushed by Composites on that Syndra. And that is just how the story went. I also had a thought about the bro minion, right? I think mini bro is how it would have to be.
Mini bro, dude, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to add that. I'm going to add that to my vocabulary, and on some of my next casts, I'm going to add mini bro as one of my next words. Yeah, thank you very much.
When a minion saves your life like that, that's the mini bro. That's how we're going for it.
You should make sure to copyright that, because people are going to take that from you. It's a great term.
When I hear that on NLC, I'm coming for you, casters. That's what I'm saying. When I hear that mini bro, it's on. But either way, that is going to be us for right now. We're going to go for a short break, but do not go anywhere, because we have more NLC action tonight. When you come back, it's going to be K5 taking on 42 Gaming.
Good night, guys.
K5 4-2. It's the last game of the day. I am Jay Real. This is Black Bloxer. How are you doing today? Hope you're having a good time.
Oh, super excited for this one. Carolina and 42. Both of these teams got a lot to play for, really in the thick of it in this playoff hunt. And, you know, after some of the bangers we've had already today, let's see if we can keep it rolling.
No, indeed. It's week 6, 2 weeks left. Week 7, week 8. Now, admittedly, depending on which team you support, some teams be playing a lot of games in these next 2 weeks. Some of them have like 8 games to play plus, right? So there is going to be a lot of games from some of these teams, but Carolina is not one of them. They have already played 14 of their 18 games. They have 4 left after this one. Maybe it's 13. Maybe they have 5 left. Let me double check. Okay, they have 5 left after this one, but that's not a lot of games. They're 9-4. We were kind of talking in the green room about what number you think you have to get to basically axe yourself out of being not into playoffs. And I think that it's about 12 wins will secure you for sure. Obviously, that will change as the weeks go on. But Carolina, they're 9-4. They still need to pick up wins to make sure they are secure in that top 6.
Yeah, but they're sat in a situation where they've already blasted through most of their games really early on in the split, and we were wondering just a little bit if it was a situation where Carolina had won the majority of games that they were going to be able to do so, and now they're just hoping that they've got themselves to a point where they can hang on with just a couple of remaining wins. Like we said, only a couple games left for these guys. They've won as many games as a couple of the teams below them have even played. They have played way more than everybody else, really exploded onto the scene. The complete opposite of Invulnerables, who only just started playing their games a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's very different right here to 42, who have played about the average amount of games compared to everybody else, and are keeping themselves just within touching distance of that top 6 pack, but they're not taking off, not like Carolina, not like Venom Crest, but they've also got a little bit of a cushion between them and the people below.
Yeah, and we said 12 would be the number that you want to get to make sure that you, for sure, will not lose out in playoffs. Now, obviously, I think that last number will be a little bit lower than that, but right now, 42 are sitting at 5-7. So with 18 games in total, use some quick maths, they can only actually get to a maximum of 11. And we have the standings right in front of us here to make it that little bit easier for you guys to visualize. And what it does also show is that 42 have been on a little bit of a losing streak, and they have a pretty tough schedule coming up with them as well.
They really do. Right now, up against Carolina. Then they've got Venom Crest, who, in case you didn't know, are just running the league at the moment. They're sat at 13-0, have been completely undefeated, despite the fact that they keep trying. Or are they at 12-0? Possibly 12-0 at this point. Even though they've a little bit been trying to throw away games, you know, a lot of very close early games. Come 30 minutes, Venom Crest just turn it on and manage to win. And then after that, they're up against Blue Whites, who they just lost to. So 42 with a really tough schedule up and coming. The possibility of being on a 5-game losing streak at the end of it all. And sure, they'd still then have quite a lot of games left to play, but it's not like the competition particularly lets up. They're currently sat in 5th position, top 6 move up to playoffs, so they're not in a terrible spot, but they really do need to find just a couple of wins in these next few games that seem so difficult in order to really keep themselves in that secure position of 5th and not just be scrapping it out for 6th.
Yeah, we will have to see how they can do it. I will say this is also the standings from the start of today. A couple of changes obviously have been made. SPGard are picking up 2 wins today. Lumvis getting another one themselves. So it is going to change a little bit, and I think it will change quite rapidly as we go into week 7 with some of those teams that haven't played too much, picking up a lot of wins or losses depending on how they perform, and obviously that will affect how the table does stand. But for these 2 teams, this is both a must-win game right now. They need to secure themselves that playoff spot, and K5 are not going to be looking to give 42 any sort of way into the game, but we'll see what they can get in this pick and ban. Last pick and ban, we saw that first ban LeBlanc. Are we going to see that again?
I can totally understand just getting rid of the LeBlanc. It's been wrecking so many games. The Ashe coming off the board straight up. Now that's a little bit more interesting one. To be honest, we've been seeing Ashe popping up more and more and more, specifically alongside that Braum. It's such a difficult bot lane to be able to play alongside. Instead, it is going to be that ban out from the LeBlanc. You expect to see it off of the red side because it is such a strong B1 pickup. The rest of the picks that we're going to expect to see taken off of the board are things like the junglers. The Poppy, we've seen that jungle on top. The Maokai, the Sejuani, these are those premier jungle picks that can really change the way that you play the game and make team fighting that much easier.
Yeah, and I also want to see, do we even get some weird picks, right? The last time I saw 42 play, they played a very strange comp. They played Aurelion Sol ADC, right? I want to see them do some stuff like
I love
that.
it.
Because it worked out. It worked out for them. It got them a win. So maybe that could be the key to success here. But right now they're going to be sticking to some pretty strong bans here. The Nico going to be taken away. The Blanc, as we talked about a little bit earlier. The Maokai banned away from K5. Another jungler that you kind of talked about. One of those really strong tanks that can just be there. Has good CC and is just quite bulky. Last ban from 42 is going to be... What's it going to be? Come on, 42. Show us the last ban.
Velvet. Okay, and that makes a lot of sense because Bash has been pulling out a lot of weird things. The Nico jungle was one of his proper picks, as well as the Lilia as something else, but it's going to be that first pick of the Kai'Sa. You've got the ability to flex it around mid and bot lane. Response though, I mean, we just saw it, and it was very strong. Syndra is one of those pickups that you can just have a pretty easy laning phase and just turn into a complete unkillable monster later on. The ability to just press R, outskill button and blow up some sort of AD carry, somebody who deals a lot of damage. Say a Kai'Sa if she steps too close.
Yeah. And it's what we saw. We saw the Kai'Sa get absolutely melted. Kindred being picked up by Gordon, though. I love that pick. I love this pick so much. And it is really strong right now, right? Especially in the solo queue eras where you can get a lot of pressure early on. If you get that snowball going, it's very hard to stop them from doing a lot of damage. And with that Syndra as well, you have a lot of stability. Syndra can push that wave, give a lot of pressure over to that Kindred, and I do like this duo quite a bit.
You have a lot of priority there through that mid lane, but that's one way to shut down a Kindred. Okay, it's going to be the Kha'Zix right there. And you love to see it, because what does Kindred want to do? Kindred wants to get into your jungle and try to steal away camps. Well, if she does that without any support and is left isolated, you're just going to get murdered by the Kha'Zix. This is a true counter to this Kindred, but you are putting yourself in a pretty risky position because Kha'Zix can't team fight, whereas Kindred loves to be around a team fight. That ultimate is brilliant in them. So it's a very risky position K5 is putting themselves in. But if it works out, a Kindred is useless when she's behind.
Indeed. Ornn there going to be the next lock. A pretty standard pick here. We saw it in the last game as well. Has its moment. I mean, it didn't flourish too much because they weren't able to keep themselves steady to the later stages, but always a very strong tank will set up Kai'Sa for a little bit of ability to use the ultimate there and get into that back line. So we'll have to see if that Killer Instinct is really going to be able to come through. And talking about Killer Instinct, right, we got to talk about this Kha'Zix. The Gnar is going to be picked up there. We can get into that in a sec, but I love the fact that we got the Kindred, right, the Grim Reaper essentially of the lore world of League of Legends into Kha'Zix, right, who is, in my opinion, probably one of the most feared picks in the game, right? Because yes, you may be one with the other Lamb and Wolf, but that doesn't stop his isolation damage. And when that procs, it is GG lights out for an ADC. We talked about getting popped like the Kai'Sa did against the Syndra. Kha'Zix, a whole new realm of nightmares.
You are absolutely locking Thornton into having to bring friends with him whenever he goes in to try to get those marks. Kindred wants to get 4 marks in order to be any form of useful. I have seen far too many Kindreds end up on just 2, maybe 3 at a push marks and just stuck there for the entire game, because in order to get ones past that initial scuttle grab, you have to be getting into the enemy jungle or constantly ganking, and it is so scary to be walking into the enemy jungle by yourself when there's a Kha'Zix, and at the same time, Kha'Zix wants to invade onto you constantly, find you when you're alone in your camps isolated. It's just such a difficult matchup to play, and Thornton, he knows how to play around his team, but it's going to require so much coordination, and sometimes at this level you don't have that full level of coordination between teams. We see the final set of bans coming through. It's going to be 2 support bans out of 42, the Varus and the Xayah as well out of K5, so the bot lane getting a lot of focus. I need to see some more early game priority out of 42 right now, because both of their lanes need to scale a bit into the late game.
Okay, the Tristana. We saw Tristana be locked in last game. Was actually in the mid lane though, so this will be a little bit of a different look, but I do think it has a lot of potential, a lot of power. Obviously, a lot of pushing power in that bot lane, so it is going to be interesting to see what support they decide to pair with it. As they have banned out a lot of support, so they banned away the Thresh, they banned away the Rel, they took away a lot of engaged potential from K5, so maybe something that could even look to maybe roam around and give Tristana kind of just like a solo lane experience. Obviously does have the rocket jump to get away.
She's pretty good at being safe by yourself. I could also see the Braum being picked up right here. You could absorb those Prey Seekers out of the Kai'Sa. That Ornn ultimate is a lot less useful into a Braum, as that is going to be a locked-in Xerath. Now, does that Xerath go down into the bot lane to create a high poke bot lane alongside that Xayah? Kai'Sa? Or are we going to see that be a mid lane pickup? Okay, it will be into the mid lane. Makes a lot of sense. You get a lot of range on the Xerath, which is what you need versus this new Syndra. She can poke you out very easily if not. Nautilus Kai'Sa as well, it gives you a lot of priority in that bot lane. It's a very high kill bot lane, and it will be that Braum alongside the Tristana. It just works quite well into a lot of the K5 picks.
Yeah, no, the Braum into the Nautilus, it's just a classic, isn't it? I'm pretty sure, and do correct me if I'm wrong if anyone does know the history of this, but shout out to Ruddy Reegs, man like Regan. He says that this is basically his favourite ever matchup. He laughs in the face of the Nautilus if he gets to pick the Braum because it is just that easy. It's just a very, very strong lock-in. But we do know the Nautilus with Kai'Sa is a very dangerous combination and will be able to set up a lot of these team fights with the Ornn in tow as well. And they also have so much range on this comp, right? Thomas Glow is going to be able to pop off from such a distance that it may make it difficult for that Tristana, for that Kindred to even get close to them. But is it going to be enough, right? Because the engage is also there for 42, right? Nard does have that range. They can jump in, and Braum as well can follow that up with the Glacial Fissure if needed.
It's one of those situations where there's a lot of scaling potential on both of these teams, but if anything, Carol and Nana want to get things going a lot earlier on. Kai'Sa can pop online just a little bit earlier, as well as having, obviously, as we've talked about it, that Kha'Zix constantly looking to roam around. These mid laners are kind of inevitable. Once they get their items, they will come online, but if you can get either one of these ahead, then it makes team fighting so difficult. Like you said, the range out of the Xerath means that he doesn't need to get involved in these actual team fights to still have an impact. And obviously, that Syndra, you press that button, you manage to blow somebody up, all of a sudden you're in a 4v5, or as good as, if you don't manage to kill them, just a massive chunk of damage too. So I could see these junglers putting a little bit of focus onto this mid lane, potentially to try get a kill. It's another situation where I don't expect any solo kills into the mid lane, but if somebody who steps into one too many spheres, into one too many Xerath Qs, all of a sudden you are getting chunked pretty low. You're either vulnerable to the gank or to potentially getting burst out through an ultimate. Luckily, I think, for us, this top lane shouldn't be too explosive. We say shouldn't because Ornn can randomly solo kill. Gnar is pretty explosive once you come to team fights, but that's the thing. These top laners should be looking at team fights, so that's at least one lane that these junglers don't have to focus on too hard, because this mid and this bot lane are very explosive.
And also, like, kind of go back to this mid as well, Xerath isn't a very popular pick. Like, this is not a pick that you're playing against regularly, every day, all day, comp, solo queue. This is one that's a little bit more niche, right? Especially in that mid lane, because I feel like it's kind of migrated to support a lot if you're playing that solo queue. So is it going to give problems for the side of 42? Because you're not used to playing against it. You know, have K5 maybe sussed out a little bit of a weird one. Also the Kha'Zix as well, not the most notorious. But we'll have to see how this one plays out. I do think momentum is going to be a very big word for this game. I think if either side gets a big lead in that mid game, it could be curtains for the other. So with that being said, a little bit of an aggressive start there for 42. Moving in, getting a deep ward, making sure they can keep eyes on where Bash is going.
You want to know where Bash is at all times. This jungle matchup is everything right now. I've seen far too many Kindreds not get those marks, not come online, and just be completely useless to the team, an ult bot, and that's about it. The same, though, can absolutely be said for the Kha'Zix. If you don't get those early kills, you don't add anything to your team during these team fights. You don't even have an ultimate to lay down to keep your team alive for a couple of extra seconds. So it's going to be incredibly important for Thornton to be able to get those early marks down and to not just be constantly chasing Bash around the map, or being chased by Bash around the map, attempting to get marks and failing to do so. I'm going to spot out where Bash is starting. Looks like that is going to lead to a late invade, a spotted out invade, but still 42 going to go for this one. Start over on the bot side red buff, and this is a complete gamble right here. You get the mark spawning on one of these Rift Scuttlers. It's completely random which one. It's a 50-50. Thornton has laid down the gauntlet and said, I think it's going to be bot lane.
No, indeed. But also, it does make an interesting play for Bash, right? Because he's now going to have to path a little bit differently. He's going to have to go for the invade. And Kindred could potentially just go all the way back to their red, have the assistance of Karosh as well, and really just cause problems for Bash and potentially even stall him from getting away a red buff. But I think they're not going to go for that. They're not going to go for the full aggress. They are going to take those Raptors instead and just kind of stay in that bot side a little bit longer. Maybe even go for that Gromp as we're seeing now. So causing a bit of problems in terms of pathing for Bash, trying to throw him off a little bit of tempo, but we'll see how that one does play out in a little bit. As Bash going to take that red buff in return, now going on to Raptors, so maybe going to full clear that top side themselves. We'll see how around that 3:30 mark where people start to pop up.
So, with these junglers starting pretty telegraphed where they are, everybody should know exactly where both their and their opposition junglers are starting. Ganks are going to be a lot trickier, which isn't the end of the world. Both of these junglers, whilst they can gank, it is a little bit more risky for them to do so. You know, you're more thinking about trying to get towards those level 6s, especially as the Kindred, and obviously the marks are such an important point. So these individual lane matchups all of a sudden become even more important. You can see a good push down in the bottom side of the map for 42. The same being said up in the top side, you'd expect that with this range versus melee matchup. And in fact, all three lanes got a good amount of push, which gives a lot of freedom right here over to the 42 to be able to roam around the map and make sure that they know Thornton will be safe enough to just get his clear off and move over towards this scuttle crab, hoping and praying that the mark does spawn down towards this bottom side.
Yeah, and obviously the push coming out from the 42 lanes is going to be important. We need to see Thornton get aggressive, find those marks, try and play for those. And the gamble pays off. The gamble pays off. It's in the bot side. They will be able to pick that one up, and obviously has the Kha'Zix marked as well. So we'll see and keep track of that one as the game goes on. But Emperor here going to go aggressive. Knows that their jungler is on the top side, and the Kindred will not be. But Cutlight able to just jump away. Not going to get too engaged into any sort of fight. But right now, that mid lane is looking like there's a potential gank on here. So let's go. Could be getting caught out here. A stun could change everything. But talking about that, going to get that hit onto Karosh and just walk away.
Instead, it's going to be the stun over onto Karosh. Nice and easy to avoid that gank, as you can see. Actually, aggressive right here. Thornton going towards this bot side of the map. Looking for a wraparound gank. Risky.
Ooh, Jordan trying to get a little bit of damage here, but it's just a little bit too close to the tower, right? They're not going to be able to get too much down. Yes, they put a bit of pressure. Maybe they kind of get into the minds of K5's bot lane, saying, okay, we know that we're here and we're lurking about, but it actually could potentially go against them, because now we are seeing Bash is in the bot side. Maybe they play for a gank to kind of guess out Jordan, but I think everyone's just going to keep it cool. I think we're just going to go back to farming.
Are indeed. Both of these junglers find it pretty difficult to set up their own ganks. You don't have any of that CC that you really need to set up ganks. Sure, there's plenty up in the top side, but the stuns in the mid, in the bot lane, are a little bit harder to land, making these ganks just pretty difficult to actually land. And that's okay, because you don't really want to do that necessarily as a Kha'Zix or as a Kindred. You're more interested in going for marks or trying to kill your jungle opponent, specifically as the Kha'Zix. These junglers, though, come out of this slightly weird early phase completely even on farm. You know, there's not been a massive lead brought out one way or the other. The same can be said pretty much for all of these lanes. Small advantages here or there, but nobody's been forced out of lane. Nobody's lost multiple waves or been chunked out particularly. It's been a very calm early game. Got ourselves a Drake spawned. Again, these junglers not going to be too focused on that one either, not until we see these level 6s come through. Being ticked right here in the mid and the top lane. That is the point at which fights could start getting a little bit more frequent.
Yeah, and I'm also just see how the dragons kind of go, right? Obviously, dragon a very poignant part of League of Legends, become more and more prominent as the seasons have gone on. At the moment, still a very important phase. So we'll see who has priority. In the last game that we just saw, it was kind of the team that had the priority over the Drakes that managed to accrue big leads and force fights that they wanted. But talking about fights that they want, K5 in one that they maybe don't. There's 42 almost getting the stuns down onto both members of the bot lane, but not going to be able to make it happen. But it does open for Thornton to start to get this dragon ticking over.
Karosh getting a good push onto Tomsko in the mid lane. You can see that aggression from the bot lane as well. Gonna be another kill onto the Scottish Crab, and this should be a relatively easy pickup right here. Bash nowhere nearby. Plenty of pressure in all of the lanes, and well read right now out of Thornton to know that this was absolutely the situation to go for this Drake, pick it up. Not too many camps up either, so not missing out on any farming time. Just going to secure this one, and so the first real advantage of the game is secured for 42. That feels pretty good right now. 42, you know, they're sat at 5th place. Top 6 go to playoffs. They really need to find some wins in what is a very tough upcoming schedule. Need to keep track of where these marks are going to be for Thornton. So far, he's managed to pick up one from that Scuttle Crab and nothing beyond. Less point on, needs to start invading to get them, and it's a very, very scary thing to do versus this Kha'Zix.
Yeah, and maybe not necessarily all about the invades. Obviously, 2 stacks so far. Could also look to, you know, go for those ganks, switch and mark, play for some of the side lanes. Obviously, the bot lane could be pretty nice for you to play through with that Brom being able to set things up. The other lanes, maybe not as solid. You know, Karosh could land a stun, but Thomasco can play very far back, right? Doesn't have to play in aggressive position. So bot lane does feel like it's going to be the poignant one for Thornton to really play through, but we'll have to see how it does occur, because right now it's been pretty chilled out, right? We haven't seen too much action from either side, and I think that in a way that does kind of favor K5 as the game goes on. But hold that thought, because we're getting a bit of a play in the mid lane. Thomasco is going to be stunned up there. The gank with the Brom there. Cabs coming up makes it so easy for 42 to lock a kill down.
And just all of that stun that you can get, those concussive blows, really making it work right now for 42. Getting that first kill as well onto Thornton is huge. Is this a marked up camp?
It is a marked up camp indeed. Snipe fight. It's interesting because 42 are not playing super aggressively for it, right? They had the numbers advantage, but you know the Xerath is coming back off respawn. It could be a rotation from the ADC as well. The numbers could out-favor you, and if it comes down to a smite fight, you're not even guaranteed to get it. So why risk it for a biscuit when you can just walk away with what you already have won? They're now up a 1k gold lead, so there's no reason for them to throw it all away.
And a really nice CS lead as well gained for Korosh, because Thomasco ended up getting go back to base when his wave was so pushed in underneath the turret, just wasted gold. Hook lands.
Hook does land pretty fresh, taking a bit of damage. He's now going to jump away, but there's the killer instinct. You cannot run from this Kaisar, but you can buster shot them away. But have you left Krabs in a bit of a rough spot here, taking a lot of damage. Hooked back, jumps out, and the last auto not going to be found.
And that's what you can get from this bot lane. Kaiser and Nautilus, when they jump in, has so much CC, so much damage just to be able to burst out. Not quite able to fully complete that kill. So it looks like Thornton is around for this Herald. Not going to be able to pick it up. It should just be taken by Bash.
The jump in didn't have smite, and now Bash could be in trouble trying to run away with the flash forward from Thornton. He's going for the hunt, but now turning on to Thomasco. This could be an interesting one as the split focus maybe changes things up. There's the knock up, there's the damage from range. But Cutlight is in the vicinity, going to stop any sort of chance of Thornton going down. But aggressive plays working out, gets the Rift Herald stolen away from Bash, and it's all 42 at this moment.
Ooh, that feels really rough right there as Bash. You spend all of that aggression attempting to pick yourself up that Rift Herald. But then, you know, just waltzes in, smites it away from you, nice and easy. Pretty huge, a nice injection of gold wherever Thornton decides to put this one down. Plenty of decent lanes to choose from as well. You could try to unlock your Gnar, just break down this mid lane tower to make Thomasco uncomfortable. All of these are pretty decent options if you want some more secured gold. Chuck it down in the bot lane alongside a Tristana, and that one will be taken down nice and quickly. If we take stock of the game right now, it's about a 1.5k gold lead for 42. With all of that gold you'll get off of using that Rift Herald for turret plates as well, means the 42 pretty happy about the way that this early game has gone. And could we just get a quick check on how many marks it is on the Kindred? I think it's still 2? Still 2. Okay, so not sat at that 4 mark position quite yet, but I'd say for the first 10 minutes, this is a pretty decent start.
Yeah, and talking about objectives, taking stock, one dragon up to 42 as well, and the next is going to be spawning shortly. So it looks like they're going to be looking to play around that objective, putting a bit of pressure onto that bot lane, pushing it in, maybe even allowing for the bot lane to get a quick reset. But I think actually we might be getting a bit of a team fight. Dawn able to jump away from the dredge line does keep them safe, but not going to play it too safe. There to defend that ward and will push Bash off. So with that being said, 42 now able to start to get a bit of space around that Drake. It may not be contested by K5. I don't think they're in any rush to do so, because they're the team that realistically will scale pretty well, right? You have the Xerath, you have the Kaiser. There's a lot of damage in those later stages. The ornaments plus the team fighting from that tanky front line is going to be pretty scary to deal with.
Absolutely is, but you're up against plenty of scaling too. Syndra, Tristana, obviously, hyper carry scale really well into the late game, and then Kindred, infinite scaling too. So neither of these teams are just waiting for the late game to come around. Need to find some early advantages and coast through on them. Next Drake has spawned up. As you said, 42 got a good presence around here, but they've not completely backed off. Kirsch is going to take a reset, come back out onto the map with a good chunk more items. That completed Luden's going to be huge. This Syndra all of a sudden deals enough damage to not get a complete solo kill, but to chunk somebody out. And as such, off of those resets, it looks like Thornton is just going to start up onto this Drake as Bash heads off towards the top side of the map. And this is one of the issues when you're playing against a Kindred. is that Bash has to go towards this top side to try to pick up this mark onto the Gromp. You know, doesn't want to potentially give that one over to the Kindred, and because he's drawn so far away, it means it's going to be a pretty easy pickup. Oh, I was going to say pretty easy pickup. It should have been, but that was a questionable
Close.
Yeah.
Woo! Should be easy, should be breezy, but it almost wasn't, right? Good thing the Caps was there with the auto attack, because that was almost stolen by Thomas Go. But it's all going well for 42. Now, admittedly, it's still a close game, right? 1.1k gold lead is basically separating the two teams. And it's not kind of opening up the map just yet, right? We still haven't seen the Retell dropped yet, so no towers going down. Platings are still up. But it looks like we might be getting a play into this bot side, right? If they get the play, get the Herald, big things to come of this. But in the top side, Bash managed to get a gank and gets a kill onto Cutlight.
Okay, now you know that Bash is towards the top side of the map alongside Emperor, so a big push down towards this bottom side. It means that Flukes and Noja-chan just going to have to run away. Rift Herald will be popped down here. This will be first turret completely got 442, putting a load of plating into Fruity Fresh. He's already got himself that completed Kraken Slayer. Cold 2 on the man, so really looking to just have that big spike at the level, at the 2 item point. Feeling pretty good about this game, R42, as things, you know, just keep going their way. Be interesting to see what happened to Cutlight, though.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on up there, but either way, a successful gank there comes out from Bash, gets them on the board. It's what we kind of need to see from them starting to become a bit more proactive, because that bot lane, getting that tower, unlocking Tristana is absolutely huge. If now 42 start to rotate Fruity Fresh around the map, they can start building up a huge gold lead for them to accrue, and then set them up for a very strong mid game.
Like a quick look up at this top lane play. Oh, he just steps up way too far.
Yeah, it's just an aggressive play. We've seen him been playing quite aggressive in general, but yeah, trying to flash out the Ornhorn, the slow from Bash as well. Yes, it did cost him a couple of flashes, but at the end of the day, it's all worth it.
He needed to secure that kill at that point after you'd blown both of those flashes. Puts Cutlight in a little bit more uncomfortable of a position. He's still holding his own up in this top side of the map. As we can see, first items being completed right here for pretty much everybody other than these top laners right now. Ludens for the mid laners completely as expected. Is that new Dust Blade right here for the Kha'Zix. It no longer turns you invisible, just means that you can't be targeted. It's still very useful, and if you can get some resets through as Bash, absolutely find a ton of kills, but obviously playing for that isolation hasn't found any of those real invades though that we were expecting.
Ooh, he's gonna find something though. Thomas Go is gonna be caught up, and here comes Bash to get aggressive, but the team is with the side of Thorndon there. A collapse comes through, a kill goes over, and Fruity Fresh gonna be getting even more ahead.
Fruity Fresh picking that one up, just getting better and better right now. And he was just over-aggressive again out of Bash. He thought that he could leap in right there. Thomas Go had dealt a decent chunk of damage onto Thorndon, but a kill just was not going to work out. You know, as Kha'Zix, you're looking for isolated targets, not leaping into 3 members. And it gets worse and worse right here for Bash, because if he isn't ahead, you add any utility to your team during a big team fight. You can't really split push. You don't have any big knockups. You're not like a Maokai with a Nature's Grasp or a Sejuani. Stunning people up, being annoying. All you are is really just a bit of a meat shield, and a pretty squishy one at that. Thorndon, he steps over this wall not really knowing what is over it. Finds Thomas Go, deals a little bit of damage, gets a lot of return kill, and Thomas Go flashes over the wall for then Bash to jump over, but then there's 3 members. Fruity Fresh can just leap over that wall, pick it up nice and easily. That's really all she wrote. Thomas Go had to cancel the ultimate as well, just to try to get the hell out of dodge.
No, indeed they do, and all things are looking good for 42, right? They're now 3k gold up, 2 dragons in hand. They can look to potentially get another one soon. It is going to be Hex, Trade, Soul. So another useful one for their ADCs of both the Kindred and the Tristana. But I want to see a bit more answer back from K5, right? It feels like they're taking this game quite slowly. I want to see those team fights. Do they fight or do they not fight around this next Drake? It's going to be a big question for me, because yes, they are a little bit behind, but they do have to start throwing punches, because right now they're taking a lot, but they're not dishing any damage back.
No, really not. Rift Tower is going to be put down into the mid lane, takes a lot of damage, still going to get that charge off. It's just a decent chunk of damage onto this mid lane, not going to pick up that kill. But it does secure a bit of a mid lane push. That next Drake spawning up in 30 seconds time. And the answer seems to be yes. Kurosh is in the top lane, but he does have teleport to come join this team fight when it happens. And other than that, all of the members of both teams are around looking to get scrappy right here. 15 seconds and the pit is mainly in control of K5.
K5 taking the river. TP going to come through there, so Karosh will make him join that fight. But we do see Cutlight on the back here, not in rage form though, needs a little bit more time though. So it's not going to be ready just yet. And now with that slow, trying to build that up. Good dodge on the dredge line will keep them safe. As now Thorndon in trouble here. There's the Ornhorn going to get the knock up. The Lancer Strike will keep Thorndon alive as here comes the dive in. Flute's going to be jumping in. Killer Instinct is activated and now going aggressive. They've taken one, but 42 are turning it back around. Damage in from Karosh, picks up one as here comes Cutlight. Thams back 3 members and the damage rains in from 42. Good night to K5 as the dive is successful in eliminating them from the rift.
Really well played right there. The initial aggression, and it looked like it was going to be so bad. Thorndon immediately jumped on top as Thomas Go dealing more than enough damage to take out the jungler for 42. But the return damage, the slow chip damage that Fruity Fresh and Kurosh were able to do just got everybody from K5 far too low to be able to keep the play going. And then on the side, Cutlight, he was in mini when the fight started, was able to poke, finally get himself into that Mega Gnar and find a huge Gnar ultimate to just secure the deaths of all of those Carolina members. You see right here, Cutlight, he's sat on the edge, and this play, all 5 members moved down. It's going to be a flash out of Nodi-chan, just missed because Cutlight's able to jump away. Thorndon jumps directly into the stun, just gets taken out, but watch Cabs right here. This just slow down that comes through from the ultimate makes sure that Carolina aren't able to follow up on that early aggression, and then it's in the backline right for Cutlight. Just able to keep all of the members of Carolina in check. Really big ultimate there, and the cleanup crew arrives on the scene. 42 picking that one up, and that means that they're sitting at a couple of Drakes. Both of the Heralds are in their back pockets too, and currently a 6k gold lead.
And you look at that fight, right? It started off so well for K5. 42 weren't particularly in a good situation. Thorndon caught out, had to use the Lamb's Respite early. But the damage from the backline was still there. Karosh and Fruity Fresh didn't manage to get hooked up or taken down early. They were able to keep firing from range, keep themselves behind Cutlight, who obviously then steps in, stops any sort of retreat from K5, and they do clean up the members. But the game felt like it was close in that team fight, but 42 are just that little bit too far ahead, and the accumulated goal that they've now got, as you said, 6k, is pushing that lead even further ahead. So it does beg the question, how are K5 going to start playing this game to get themselves back into it? Because the team fight status from front to back isn't going to be the way forward.
Well, the pings onto the Baron right there, but plenty of wards out of Carolina, push all of 42 off. And that is the way that Carolina want these team fights to go. They're playing a poke composition. It should be that the members of 42 arrive at team fights with half of their HP already gone from the constant poke from a Kai'Sa that's got that half AP build, and from a Xerath. And that's what happened. Thorndon had already lost his life by the time that team fight started, but they just weren't able to get into that backline well enough. That just, brick wall that is a Braum was able to sit in, stop any aggression from happening that got onto Kurosh and Fruity Fresh, and it is just a worrying sign for K5 that team fight went the way that they really would have wanted it to do so, and yet it still wasn't enough.
Well, can they make something happen a little bit later? Obviously, there's still a lot of game left, right? Still Baron, still Dragons up to play for, but the next Dragon is going to cause big stakes indeed, right? The Chemtech Soul is on the line. And can K5 bring themselves back to kind of give it a good go at having a team fight and start winning these? Because if they don't win the next team fight around that Drake, it feels like we're going to see a repetition of what we had in Game 3 today.
Could be an absolute stomp right here. So far, definitely going the way of 42. We've got to be watching onto that next Drake 2 minutes time. That would be Soul. Obviously, Chemtech Soul, not the absolute best of all, but still there's plenty of stuns and slows that the extra tenacity would be useful for. 42. As Carolina, you do not want to give over a just straight up 4 Dragon Soul. Having not managed to fight into any of these, with Baron up and available, going to see who's going to be able to get a good amount of vision down, because like I've said, that poke composition out of K5 means that 42 need good vision to know what they're going to be stepping into, and at the same time, those flanks potential out of Cutlight could be huge. We saw it work out, despite the fact that Cutlight was pretty much on full vision, the flanks still worked with that Mega Gnar being such a powerful tool. And if he's able to do it again, especially out of vision this time around, it could definitely be that final nail in the K5 coffin.
And I will say, one hook could have changed it all, right?
Yes.
If Nodu-chan had managed to land onto Cutlight, they kill the Gnar, they pick up the fight, then they can take the 5v4 pretty simply. It was very close. It almost did land, but it does feel like the chances of those fights going in their favor is getting slimmer and slimmer. So I want to see them start to pick up the pace a little bit, maybe try and look for some picks, but it seems like we've had that bit of a lull phase. We're going to be going towards the Dragon in 50 seconds, and I feel like we're just going to see a repeat of what just happened unless K5 can come up with some more strats.
It's going to take quite a lot right now for K5 to get themselves back into this game. Thorndon, haven't had a check onto how many stacks he's got recently. Just 5, perfect. Okay, so has ticked over that 4 mark. Is in that empowered position, so a very good position. Everybody on 42 feeling pretty happy about themselves right now. Those 2 completed items especially, I'd have to say, onto Fruity Fresh means that you're just going to be melting through either the front line or the back line. Really, whoever you find in front of yourself.
I feel like this is not how we want to see the fight, but here's the damage on this power onto Bash. A lot going down onto Karosh, though. Can it be enough? Right, the Arcane just going to miss, and now Emperor, the one in trouble. Fruity Fresh jumping forward. The explosion kills off Bash as well. 2 to Fruity Fresh, and it's K5 on the run. The top side of the river is their destination, but maybe it's going to be their base. A good stun from Thomas Go will die some time, but there's the TP. Karosh is here. Nodu is gone, and Baron is probably going to be following it soon.
You can see continued pressure trying to get onto Flukes and Thomas Go, but everybody else from 42 onto this Baron going to be able to pick this one up nice and easily. Bash is nowhere nearby with a stun. Low health bars, sure, but Thomas Go and Flukes, it would be a lot for them to be able to get into this fight. Indeed does go down and ping straight down onto this Drake. It's going to be the soul for 42 if they're able to get there. Bash is back onto the map. Needs to look for a steal right here because...
He's not going to Dragon. He's going topside.
He's accepted his fate. That's going to be a Baron and Soul over to 42, and that one feels pretty much like the team's going to be picking up their 6th win of the tournament.
Well, they still would have closed out, right? They still got to take those tier 2s. They've still got to start to axe out this game. But as you said, yeah, they are starting to pick up the pace. It does look very strong for them. They're 9k gold in the lead. If this Baron buff wins them, and if they can get another big fight with this Baron buff, it could just be GG, game over. But they need to play it smart. They need to play it correct. I will say, this is kind of what we're talking about K5. They have a lot of poke, but they just aren't using it. They were the ones that were in mid lane. They didn't have the priority over the river. They had to swap positions with 42 so that anytime 42 walk in, you get a bit of poke down. You stop them from going into river without taking free damage. And we're just not seeing it from them, right? They don't have the stats. They don't have the items. And they're not playing how their comp really could flourish. And it's causing 42 to just run them down.
It's just not working out right here for K5, and I have to say, I think it comes through this jungle pick. We know we really hyped up this counter pick Kha'Zix into the Kindred, how much he could make the Kindred's life uncomfortable, you know, constantly invade, look for those isolated kills, and instead not able to find any of that really. And as such, not able to add too much to these team fights, not getting the rest of the team ahead, whereas Thorndon has been able to empower the rest of the team, and beyond that, his solo laners and that bot lane have really found their own advantages too.
They have indeed found those own advantages. Oh, this Baron push is starting to become problematic. All 3 lanes are being pushed. Mid lane is going to go down. That tier 2 is removed by 42. And now they're going to start rotating towards the top side. So 42 just looking to clean these ones up. But Karosh might be a price to get paid for it. It is going to be a kill back into K5's pockets. But now 42 are just going to start closing in on more towers. Tier 2 down. Will they get a tier 3 here?
Sorry, if you could just fill for a second.
Yeah, and right now they're going to look for that inhib. They will be able to pick that one up, and they can just walk away. The power of 42 is being shown. K5, though, on the run now, trying to close them down. Big slow from Bash. Maybe gives a bit of space for the team to run in, but they're just not close enough. And a nice jump over the wall from Cutlight will get a bit of space. No chance of the hook. And we are back into a lull of a game state, because 3 minutes until the Elder Drake is up, or 3 minutes 40, I should say. 3 minutes until the Baron. I feel like that is the next big play for both teams. All tier 2s will remove a huge injection of gold over to the side of 42. Now up 10k. And with that being said, the way that I see K5 getting back into this, right, is you need to find some picks, right? It was good that they managed to pick up onto Karosh. It was good that they were able to start getting a bit of damage down. But they need to start really enabling themselves to find these better fights. And one thing I will say is if they can get onto the Elder Drake, then the game could change. That buff is absolutely disgusting. And with someone like Bash, an aggressive assassin, maybe it can be enough to pick off those squishier targets that are doing so much damage for 42.
You're going to have to really get into the backline, though, as K5 to be able to try to pick up Fruity Fresh and Korosh. Korosh, sure, is a pretty immobile champion, but, you know, that's not going to be the same at all for Fruity Fresh on this Tristana. Can just jump away so easily. The pressure right now coming through from the bot lane, mid lane, and top. So much being put forwards, and it's making K5 sweat right here. They have to find themselves a big, aggressive play. The Ornhorn, it's been hitting onto 1 or 2 members so far. You're really going to need to land it onto multiple. Use that depth charge onto one of those priority targets and get into the backline. K5, they have the ability to do so, but when you're down this much gold, it's such a risky play to go for. Any missteps right here out of K5 will still be end of the game.
And it's really difficult when you have cabs in this game as well. The fact that the Brom can just block the Ornhorn there, stop that from going through the whole team. It could also, I believe, block the depth charge. It just makes it so tricky for you to get that engage onto that difficult to find target of Fruity Fresh, because obviously you can just block it, jump away, but also Karosh and even Thornton as well. So a lot is on the shoulders of Cabs, and so far he has been doing an excellent job at delaying it. And then you also have to think about Cutlight, who really can just swap up how this whole team fight is fighting, because we've seen enough. We've seen it jump in, absolutely change a game, and it feels like K5 haven't had the answer. Is it because they're maybe behind? Is it because maybe their comp can't go front to back and they've tried that? But if that's the case, what do they do next?
Not sure, but to be fair, Cutlight has now picked themselves up that Hull Breaker, so probably looking to actually just sit in the side lanes and not get involved in these big team fights too much. Maybe a little bit of a blessing for K5 because they don't have to deal with that flank. At the same time, though, constant pressure on the sidelines out of a Gnar is not going to be very comfortable to play around either. Less than a minute now onto this Elder Dragon. And if this one's picked up for 42, it means you've got a good minute and a half where you just cannot step up to 42. To be fair, Carolina kind of have already been in that same situation so far, and you really said it. The inability to play front to back is just so tricky when you're against something like a Brom and a Gnar. You really need to be able to get through that front line, which is so tanky, to get to those squishies in the back line.
Right, the Arcane doing a lot of damage, but not going to be enough. Karosh
Fancy feet.
may not even have to go back to base there. I think they will go back to base as K5 are starting to use this poke. Nice bit of damage there from Floops. And if they can continue this, maybe they can cause trouble. This is what we wanted to see. We said they had so much poke, but they weren't using it. Finally, they start to click their buttons. As right now, though, Emperor, where are you sending the horn? It's going all the way to your base, and it's going to join you. Although Cutlight doing their tower a little bit too long there. Will manage to get the kill. The 42 split the focus of the side of K5 once again. They start this Baron. Bash is in the vicinity, but Cutlight just pressing on this inhibitor has caused him to go back to base.
Exactly what we were saying. Hull breakered up Gnar. You're in a situation where you can melt through the turrets and the Ornn at the same time. He's going to hit the hook.
Hook there, Killer Instinct coming through. They are cutting through Cutlight, but does he have the escape? No, he does not. Tries to gnaw them away, but could not jump out. But it may not mean enough, right? Fruity Fresh now with the gang of 42, able to just run down mid. They should be able to pick up this tower, and that could be third inhib long gone. Elder Dragon could be in their minds, but they may just even go for the end right here.
Just try to end it, yeah. Just going to keep on pushing forwards right here, R42. They want that 6th win right now. Starting to deal so much damage to turrets.
Oh, it's just absolutely melting through them, and it's not just turrets, it's also champions. Nodu gonna go down, Nexus in their sights, and they don't even need a fight. It is another win for 42 in a very dominant fashion over K5.
Really felt like there was nothing that K5 could do to really get themselves back into this game. And this is huge right here for 42. The way that they won this game and who they won it against. Carolina are sat second in the standings right now, only beneath, you know, Venom Crest, who are the undisputed kings right now of the league. That's huge to be able to pick up this win, really have some momentum going into that Venom Crest game next time. And they showed off a style that really worked. Every single member did their job right now, even in the face of what could have been a very tricky composition from K5 to play against.
Yeah, 42. They may have come in this as maybe the underdogs, 5-7 versus Carolina's 9-4, but they made it look strong. I know that composition obviously is going to play a big role, but they just had the proactive plays. They were able to make things happen. They played the tempo how they wanted to, and K5 just never seemed to really have an answer to taking them off tempo, to getting a bit of a lead here or there. It just didn't happen, and as the game rolled through, so did 42's lead, so did their win conditions. So it's a bit of a one where I feel like K5 have to go back to that drawing board, kind of look at what they're going for, because they've not got many games left. And they need to pick up a few more wins to ensure that they can make it to playoffs. Whereas other teams like 42, they're looking pretty strong. Espigado earlier looked very strong. They're dangerous prospects that may try and snag that place away from K5.
4 more games right now for K5. 4 more, when most teams, haven't even played half of their games right now. Invulnerable's only just joined the dang tournament. They are basically done at this point, and they did really well for themselves. Don't get me wrong. Carolina picked up a ton of wins during the early stages of this game, but at this point, they have on a little bit of a loss streak, not being able to pick up those final couple of wins. Right now, 5-4, like we said, they're on the cusp of being fine, even if they lose out on all of the remaining games, but you don't want to do that. Not when you have Lightside, a monster breathing down their necks from just a couple of places below, and not when all of the teams around that sort of 6th place mark are beginning to turn it on. 42 sat in 5th, just got a couple of wins. Espigado also beginning to turn themselves back on as well and start to scrap for those bottom couple of places. Carol and Lerner, a couple more wins and they should be fine, but momentum coming into playoffs is something we now need to start thinking about, and right now, the momentum is not with Carol and Lerner.
It is not, but there's only so much speculation you can do. At the end of the day, there's only one way to find out how it will happen, and that is to stay tuned to NLC Div 2 over the next 2 weeks. A lot of games are going to be coming your way. That is going to be all from us tonight, though. We saw a couple games be picked up by Espigado, that game 2 and 3. Lundvis Lightside picking up their win in game 1 as well. And then obviously to round it all off, 42 putting on a very clinical display. But make sure you keep yourself tuned in, because the next 2 weeks are going to be deciding it all. Who will make it to playoffs? There's only one way to find out. Make sure you tune in next week.